Palmdale City Council meeting. I'd like to call the council meeting to order, and I'd like to ask that we all please stand. We have some Girl Scouts with us tonight. I'd like them to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Please stand for the oath. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's have a moment of silence. All right, thank you. Notice how that train cooperates?
Yeah.
All right, we want to thank our Girl Scouts that led us in the pledge. We're going to see more of them in just a few minutes, so we'll introduce you properly at that time. All right, let's go to item 3. Roll call, please.
Mayor Ledford.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo.
Here.
Councilmember Hoffbauer.
Here.
Betancourt. Here. Bishop.
Here.
Mayor LaCour.
All right, let's have our first item under item 4, presentations. We have our Palmdale Animal Control Center is here. Brought a cute critter, a cute critter that you could adopt tonight. One of you could adopt. So you might think about that. Talk amongst yourself. I think we've had two have been adopted from the council meeting, showing this lovely cute critter.
Wants attention.
This is an acting dog.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jesse from the Palmdale Animal Care Center, and tonight I have this beautiful little guy. He's a 2-year-old Chihuahua. His name is Prince, and it's unusual how he came to our shelter. He was found off of 37th Street East, chained to a pole with a for sale sign on the pole. The individuals that found him took video and pictures of the area, the scene, before they unchained the dog and brought him to us. He seems to be really friendly, really healthy. He's really good with his kennel mates, 2 other little Chihuahuas that are in there with him. And when I pulled him out tonight, I was kind of leery because he was very barky in his cell. And as soon as I got him out, he was like, let's go outside and play. You know, so he's really playful. He's good on the leash. He needs a little bit more leash training because he pulls. But very attentive. And sure enough, he is really treat motivated. I can get a treat out and he's just like, yeah, I'll take it. He won't do any tricks for it yet, but with time he'll learn. He'll learn. Right, Prince? You want this? Want that?
Says I want it, but I won't do anything for
very,
it.
very gentle too. Yeah. I tried to get him to sit, but he wouldn't. He just wanted treats. Good. Good. So he's available now. He's chipped. He's got all his shots, and he's also altered.
How old do you think?
He's well, the vets think that he's 2 years old.
Okay.
So he's not going to get any bigger than this. He'll whiten out a little more with some good food. You know, and with a lot of training, I'm pretty sure that he'll become the best dog you can ever have. Right, Prince? Doesn't want to talk right now. He's shy.
So the point of this really is to, number one, show off the relationship we have with our animal care facility here in Palmdale, which is fabulous, and promote volunteerism. For you as an individual, you can volunteer at the shelter, make a difference, and you could grow up and be like this guy, showing up at a council meeting as a volunteer and introducing animals for us to consider adopting. So it's a good thing, and it's a new shelter, relatively new, so our game is really to develop a relationship. We need a lot of help, and so we're looking at our residents to help out in this area. So if you ever have extra time and energy, there's an area that you could donate a little time to. He's all underneath there. Probably the contraband.
Very curious.
So anything we're missing?
Well, we are starting a new program. It's public volunteers for fostering animals. We usually have our volunteers do the fostering for our animals that come in, unweaned kittens, puppies. We raise them till they're 8 weeks old, and then we bring them back and get them adopted, or we get them adopted before we bring them back. Sometimes we as volunteers fail and keep them, which is a bad thing. It's a good thing, but it's a bad thing. So we are starting this program that will help us in fostering animals, and you don't have to volunteer at the shelter as long as you're fostering the animals. You come in for foster training with our coordinator and some of our foster volunteers, and they'll go through your process of getting you set up to become a volunteer foster. And then once we get animals brought into the shelters that are either unweaned or still too young to stay in the shelter, then we start calling the fosters. So far we've had, I think about 4 people signed up and have already gone through the training and the class that she gives, and just waiting for kittens and puppies to start coming in, because we'll get them up here. And it's inevitable, because sometimes we get swamped with a lot of puppies and a lot of kittens at the same time, and no place for them to go. Especially if mom isn't around to help them feed. So that's where we come in. It's a good experience. It's a good learning experience. If you actually want to volunteer at the shelter, you have to be 16 or older. Come in, fill out an application, or go online, fill out an application. We correspond by email, send you a date when we're going to have our training. And I think now she is actually emailing you to do a walk through the shelter before the training class. It's a good experience. We get to do a lot of cleaning. We get to do a lot of socializing with the animals, a lot of cleaning. We go out on adoption events. We just had NKLA, which is our second biggest event of the year. We took a total of 37 animals, dogs and cats. We came back with 0.
Yay.
They all got adopted. They all went, 2 of them went to the rescue. But all of them found happy homes, which is great to see.
Well, good work.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you coming by. Thank you for the introduction. Again, anybody have an interest? Here it is. Looks like our city manager has a connection.
Somebody had their hand up in the back.
Yeah.
Somebody was raising their hand in the back.
Yeah? Maybe? All right, well, we know who to look for now, right?
Thank you.
For the dog, I was doing it about when I see a dead animal and I make a call. It takes a long time for someone to show up.
Well, basically, if you call the call center, they dispatch by where the officers are located, and we cover a wide range of area here, all the way past Lake LA to down to almost Santa Clarita. So where that officer is, and he gets the call, it takes some time to come up, from where they're at.
Yes, sir.
So if you don't get a quick response, call back, and Usually, they'll come out, they'll pick up the animal. Sometimes, if it's just in the middle of the street, they'll pick them up, you won't even know they were there.
Yeah. All right.
Just keep calling.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks.
All right, can we get Mike Miller to come on down? So, you guys may or may not be aware, we've been doing some outreach for homeless, doing homeless counts. So tonight we want to take an opportunity to say thank you. So we're bringing up Mike Miller. I'm going to grab the certificates. But maybe Mike Miller, you could talk a little bit about the relationship we have and the mission.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Some of you have heard of Measure H, the initiative that has brought money, a 1/4-cent sales tax addition, to LA County. The funding is for homelessness, to combat homelessness. So when you hear of Measure H, and the cities in Los Angeles County have been gathering together, figuring out strategies of how to use the money in appropriate ways to help the homeless. And we, as a city and many other cities, were fortunate enough to receive a grant to actually put together a homeless plan. And the city of Palmdale actually, very silently, not really putting it on a banner and waving it around, has been working for the past 15 or more years to combat homelessness here in our community. And if you look at the numbers over the years, you can see why we have relatively low homeless numbers. Although we do see homeless individuals, there's still a process of people wanting to come off the street. But we've done our best. And if you look at Corson Arts Colony, we have 60 units dedicated to homeless veterans and people with mental health or health issues. Our Youth Build program has the Dream Center for Emancipated Youth, and we've worked with other small nonprofits. But through this grant, we wanted to take the opportunity to really get to know the homeless community here in Palmdale, and we did just that. So we went to Youth Build, Advancing Communities Together, the nonprofit that sponsors Youth Build, and Victory Outreach, and all of our neighborhood advisory committee members, and we asked, what could we do to really get out on the streets? Well, through the grant, we were able to fund a team of 26 people for 8 weeks to scour the city and actually talk to people who are homeless in the community. This team actually engaged with 188 homeless people and took 180 surveys and brought them into us. This isn't just people on the street. This is people who are in motels, who are sofa surfing, couch surfing, people who are in RVs. It's the broad spectrum. When we think of homelessness, there's all different types of levels. So we want to thank them tonight for their hard work, their dedication. Actually, the data that they provided to us has actually driven our homeless plan to this point. And to tell you the truth, the county took a quick look at it yesterday during a meeting, and they were rather stunned how on point we are as a city for the region.
So we're going to unveil our plan.
Yes.
Do you have a timeline?
June 26th is the workshop with council.
Okay.
So we'll have the community partners here. There were 10 community partners that were engaged in this, but tonight we want to recognize those boots on the ground during those 8 weeks and for their hard work, because the information, the survey was a lot of personal information in there that we asked people, but people shared it. What was amazing, out of the 180 people that we took surveys from, 71 individuals gave us their name, phone number, all the contact information, and we actually have the nonprofits here and the community in the region who have reached out to them are actually finding solutions for them to reconnect them with their family, get them to where they need to be, getting them into housing, getting them the services that they need through this effort. So and I think we had 3 individuals, Brandon, that came off the street. 3 while we did this outreach.
So, good information. So let's start. Start with Malcolm Markey, Jr. You here tonight? All right. First one is absent. Keontae overall?
Maybe Youth Build's already had graduation.
They may be already gone. How about K. Ron Benz? We're just going to keep going. Antonio Padilla, Jr.
Ah, there he is.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Good job, my friend. We made a difference.
Tony, thank you.
Let me read what this, they all say the same. It says, City of Palmdale hereby extends its gratitude for your dedication and commitment to our community for performing outreach to the homeless in preparation of the city's homeless plan. So that's what the shirt says. How about Frankie Garcia? Is Frankie here? About Raphael? Mirando? No Raphael? Then we're going to go to Abraham Rizzo.
Hey.
Thank you so much. Good job. All right, Taylor Jones. No? Okay. Fazon Williams? No. Eric Gonzalez? Thank you, Eric. Thank you. Good job. We appreciate you. Thank you. Will De La Torre?
There he is.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate that. Good job. Thank you. All right, Louis Almabert. Thank you. All right, Irma Gonzalez. Connor Gillian. Ivan Gonzalez. Dominguez Figueroa. It's okay, we're going to take what we can get. Ruben Torah. Almakar Ayaya. No. How about Randy Garcia? David Ion. Ashley Herrera. There we go. Junior Sela Girl. Allison Gardik. Gardik, well, she agreed with me. Allison. All right. Avaro Turan. Brandon Skogan. Cindy Roman. Help me with that. Olegario Angulo. We're saying not here. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the toughest job I have is pronouncing names. We are so diverse that it's, well, maybe someday I'll get it all. But this group here, we're recognizing their efforts to help us find our homeless plan, connection with our homeless population. Our immediate goal is to eliminate homeless veterans. We think we can make that one happen, and we have a process we think will be very successful in that area. But we're going after, not going after, but we want to try to reach out to all of our homeless. And if they're ready to step up and make a difference, well, we've got a place for them to go. So it's all good news, and these individuals made a difference. So let's give them a round of applause.
If everybody can get on this side, it'd be perfect. Maybe 2 rows. Maybe 2 rows. There we go. Yes, the vertically challenged in front. Or in the back.
Too tall, Michael.
Mike, get in there. I'm short. All right, right here, everybody. I'm going to take about 3. All right. 3, 1, 2, 3. One more.
Excellent. One more time. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, Trish Jones. Where's Trish? Come on down. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I know the future in our community is very, very bright because we got all these great young people. We're getting ready to recognize some more. And Trish is up here to speak to this presentation, which is with the Girl Scouts of America.
So every year this time, we recognize those girls in the Palmdale area who have achieved their Gold Award. And we quite frequently hear about the Boy Scouts Eagle Award, but not as many people know about the Gold Award, and we're very proud of these young ladies. All of these young ladies live and did their projects here in Palmdale for us. And the wonderful thing about these projects are they make a difference somehow. They teach younger children. They recognize problems in our community and address them. We've had girls work, one girl created a band for us at the summer lunch program. One taught the kids about the importance of caring for your pets. It's fun to have the pet, but there's a lot of work that goes with that. So she came out and did that for us. We've had so many, and I know I'm missing some projects because I cannot remember them all, but these young ladies have worked very hard, and this is really the culminating night for their awards, and they've done presentations. They learned a lot of lessons along the way. The young lady who organized the reading program, she learned some lessons, huh? It's not as easy as you think. You think you have a grand plan. You think it's going to work. And that doesn't always work the way you planned it, but these girls went back and they reformulated and they came right back out the gate. So tonight, we're very proud they're part of our community and that they're making a difference in our community.
So we have these accommodations to recognize their Gold Award. We do the same for Boy Scouts. They get an Eagle Scout Award, they get one of these as well. This basically outlines their experience in scouting. So it talks about their achievement of ranks and some of the things that they were involved in, but it's kind of a synopsis, but it's a way for us to say, this is valuable stuff for our young people. It really is. These programs, and I can't think of a better program than scouting to prepare a young person for life. It exposes you to so many things, so many opportunities for experience. So it's valuable to our city because imagine if everybody in our city was an Eagle Scout or a Gold Award recipient. It would change the world, guaranteed. So let's start off with, you can introduce this person. I'd like to share the wealth.
The shame. Alicia Francisca Paliza.
Very good. This is for you. Fabulous work.
Madison Rosales Rowe.
Thank you so much.
Shayla Anderson.
Thank you so much. Good job. We appreciate it.
I am going to make one quick announcement. We had two more who weren't able to join us because they're out working. Haley Kydell and Emily Lyons. So we'll make sure that they get
Let's get a picture and let me get on this end.
There you go. All right, think about 3. Ready? 1, 2, oops. 1, 2, 3. One more.
Were you working over to?
I know, sorry. We're getting one more. We're just gonna go right in front of you. You had the prime spot. Thank you.
One more.
Sorry, you earned it.
We're sharing.
You got his done.
Thank you.
Very
You the
good.
young lady working at the polling place
I was a
today?
Cub Scout.
Maybe it's the one that's not here.
I think this one was.
The one that's not here. Okay, so that's where one of them's at, is working at a polling place tonight.
Oh, very good. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give these young ladies another round of applause. Good job. Thank you. We appreciate it. All right. Thank you. Okay. Is Curtis Cannon here? Here's Curtis. So Palmdale High School's Health and Career Academy. You want the microphone?
Which one?
There it is.
I want it, but
You're getting it. Anyway, Palmdale High School's got a Health Career Academy, and we want to recognize those young people. They've successfully completed the program. So we have some with us tonight. So Curtis, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay, inclusive.
Yeah.
Testing. There we go. What this is as you, hopefully if you don't know, just to make it sort of the announcement, if you're not aware that not only is this academy that we have, but we have several academies throughout the city in our school system that we have. And we're very blessed and lucky to have that to help our students also go into young adults as well, preparing for different careers and opportunities that they have, which reason I bring it up specifically is I'm a little biased because I'm a graduate of Palmdale High School, as is our mayor. And so,
Go Falcons.
Yeehaw. And this specifically is for the academy that is run out of Palmdale High School, for the Health Careers Academy. And what this is also for is they competed in a statewide competition. And so these awards are for those students that competed and won in their different events that they had. And so we wanted to especially not just thank them, but recognize them for the hard work and efforts that they did. And so we do already know that there's some that may not be here in attendance tonight, but we do want to make sure we say their names as well, but we do have these that we want to give out this time.
Well, why don't you start off with that first name?
Yasmin Ceros.
And he does it, pulls it off. Good work. Yasmin, very good. Excellent work. Yeah, we're going to stand right there. All right, I'll take one. Daisy Garcia. Very good. Congratulations. Good work. Natalie Gavia. All right, your turn.
China Hodges.
Thank you.
All right, one more.
Giselle Jaramillo.
Makes him a keeper. Congratulations. Good work. Priscilla Martinez. These ladies have affirmative handshakes. They do. That's awesome. Your turn.
Felicitas Morales.
Jared Perez. Yeah, your turn.
Citale Ponce.
Good work. I appreciate you. Thank you. And
Evelia Vasquez.
good work. Appreciate you. Now, not everybody's able to be here, so but let's go ahead and recognize them. Joshua Avila. Receiving for Joshua.
Hey, Josh.
Very good.
Yeah.
Tiffany.
You want to get hers? You get hers.
Oh, you get hers. Excellent. Good to see you. Isaac James. Well, we're not shy of volunteers in this group. Good. Sherry Jones. And Yolandra Valadez. Very good. So, what we'd like to do is, I forgot to read you what the certificate says. It says, the City of Palmdale is pleased to extend to you this expression of our pride in your accomplishment and congratulate you for honors received at the State Health Occupation Students of America, HOSA, competition. So that's what that says. Anything you want to say? You guys look like you're in charge of the program.
Hi, my name is Angela Hefter. I'm a co-coordinator for the Health Cares Academy at Palmdale High School. This is Ms. Jody Finks. She is a coordinator and a teacher at the Palmdale Prep Academy, which is the first year we've had a junior high school, which we have junior hires who took the gold medal in the junior high division at the state conference. So these students, I just would like to say that it's every parent's dream that they're going to have good educators for their kids. And it's every teacher's dream to have students such as these. And we're very, very fortunate. And what we're trying to do is make them responsible young adults, and that they can come back and serve our community, be responsible citizens. And these students they're the best that they can be. This is the top of what we have. There's many, many more of them. These students worked very, very hard to achieve where they did to make the state level in their medal competition. We range from CPR and first aid to EMT, medical assisting, nursing assisting, community awareness, and health career display. So a lot of these students are going to be soon taking their national registry for their EMT. They're going to be taking their exams to be medical assistants. And they're all going to college. Where are all you graduates? There's all of the graduates just recently graduated. We just know that there's a need in the workforce, and we are trying to help produce that. And we know that we train these students as if they're taking care of ourselves or our family. And we feel we've done a great job, and this is a wonderful example of what we're going to continue to do for our community. So we want to say thank you.
Good job.
Okay. You're two. You're also short.
Yeah, let's try
Short
two.
ones at the front. Short ones at the front.
Like it's practice.
Oh, I can't.
There we go. There we go. Okay, right here, everybody. 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, one more time, ladies and gentlemen. Good job. All right, let's go to item 5 on your agenda, waiver of full reading of resolutions.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. Item 6 on your consent calendar. This is the consent calendar and the public comment period of the consent calendar, meaning these items on here, 7-1 through 729, are what we call consent calendar items. We can approve the entire consent calendar with a motion and a second. However, if you have an issue, you're here in regards to that consent calendar, you'd like us to consider pulling it for discussion, this would be your opportunity to do so, but only for the consent calendar. Only item 7 on your agenda. So anybody wish to talk to an item from the consent calendar? Maybe.
My name is Marcia Perman, and I live on Carroll Side in Palmdale. I would just like to make mention on 7.8, because it has the word pool in it, I feel it necessary that I come up and make reference to that particular issue, and that I hope you will support any maintenance that we need to keep our pools healthy and able to be enjoyed by our citizens. On 7.18, the approval of the fireworks booth permits. In the late 1980s, there was quite an issue of fireworks booths in Palmdale. And what came about was it was put on a ballot and for the citizens of Palmdale to vote if they wanted nonprofits to be able to sell safe and sane fireworks. That passed, obviously, because we still have that. So it was a citizen's choice, and we ask your approval of the permits being issued for something that the citizens were in favor of. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to step forward, talk to the consent calendar? All right, seeing none. City Council, anybody want to pull an item for discussion?
I'd like to pull 716
Okay.
and 723.
Any other items?
I want to pull 718,
718.
722, 724.
Okay, now 22, 24. Any other items? How about a motion?
7.
We got it.
Move to adopt the consent calendar with the exception of the ones pulled by council.
Second. Got a motion second. Any other discussion? Should we do a voice vote on this, or can I just ask?
You can do a voice vote or IC.
Let's go voice vote.
Mayor Ledford?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer?
Yes.
Bettencourt?
Yes.
Bishop?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Okay, let's go to item 711.
I wanted to pull that item just to make a comment on the background section of the staff report. It talks about the expansion of Wi-Fi at any other city facilities. Do we know what any other city facilities are we looking at putting Wi-Fi? And which city facilities have Wi-Fi now? Do you want me to?
IT's coming from the back of the room too, so. Grabbed the wrong book. Sorry, grabbed the wrong agenda. Or can you talk about what currently has Wi-Fi, the city facilities?
Yeah, the city facilities, first of all, good evening to members of the council and mayor. Cities that currently have Wi-Fi are the facilities. Other than we have it here at the library, we have it at City Hall in the administration building, development services. Other sites are Marie Kerr Recreation Center, the Transportation Center, and the water park does have Wi-Fi for staff usage at this point.
Okay. Are there any other city facilities that you think need to have the Wi-Fi?
We actually have a lot of plans in process. Nothing's been firmed up yet. We're going to be meeting and discussing that, but we do have a lot of plans. This room, for instance, is on that plan.
Well, and,
So we're not fully implemented our plan yet. We're into it, but we're far from completion.
well, and this item was, this is kind of our internet circuit that does help with speeds if we do do some other expansions of programs. We, have to assess, again, just for expansion needs, what are the needs we're trying to serve? Is it needs for the staff and for people that are coming to the city to do business, or needs for the public? And trying to balance making those kind of services available.
They're primarily be for staff to be able to do their job as they go out in the field and be able to do reports or follow up on orders.
Yes, with two implementations that'll be coming forward. One, the Track It implementation, which is being used by development services. Our field inspectors will have availability of handheld devices that they will be in the field with. Work can be done without Wi-Fi access, but Wi-Fi certainly will make certain aspects of that easier. Additionally, there will be handheld devices or mobile devices used by maintenance with the implementation of a second project related to work order and asset management. And so Wi-Fi will be one of the expansion areas that Stuart discussed is at the maintenance yard, so that as the staff come in at night, that Wi-Fi will be available at the yard so that they can upload information as they come in.
So I see this as an attempt to really become a smart city because of the need now to have the Wi-Fi capability for internal uses, like you explained. So I think this is a good move to have this step forward to what a smart city should really be. That's the only reason I want to pull out this item, so that that's coming in other city facilities, and again for better responses to the residents whenever they have a complaint, for instance graffiti or any other thing that needs to be repaired, roads, those kind of things. So again, I think it's a great thing to move forward to what a smart city should really be.
Those types of services that you're speaking of the two implementations will be addressing those just through the internet. That there'll be citizen portals for reporting that kind of information that will be directly sent to the departments for response.
We should be able to, there shouldn't be a question if someone is at a city facility, whatever it is, it's a publicly accessed city facility, they ought to be able to get access. And it's one of the things that, I keep beating the drum about is every time we give the cellular providers a break, we give them streamlined services, we give them access to our facilities and that stuff, we ought to be asking them for Wi-Fi access, especially when they're putting these towers in our parks and at our city facilities. I really think we need to look at that because it's done in other areas. We need to look at it being done here.
All right, any other questions, or how about a motion?
Move to approve 7.11.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? Let's call for the voice vote, please.
Mayor Ledford?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer?
Yes.
Bettencourt?
Yes.
Bishop?
Yes.
We have a quorum. It's unanimous.
All right, let's go now to item 7.16.
Before you start on the item, I'm going to go ahead and step in the back because I have a conflict of interest with this.
Okay.
Got you coming out there?
All right, 7.16. This has to do with our mall, Antelope Valley Mall contractual relationship for deputy services. Mike Miller.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The item here this evening is a recommendation by staff to approve an agreement for cost sharing with the Antelope Valley Mall to provide one 40-hour non-relieved deputy at the cost of $321,330 annually. The mall has agreed to reimburse the city $34,000 a year for 3 years, so that's $34,000 a year, with the possibility to extend that contract by 2 years. Staff is recommending that council approve this item.
Do we have other officers that work on this weekend?
We have, this is the one full-time deputy we have, Deputy Miles, that's there at the mall, and that covers the mall property. So the mall shopping as well as the perimeter around the property.
That's where I was heading, is that there's other shopping, regional shopping in the general vicinity.
Yes.
And I'm just, this deputy also patrol
Within the mall property, yes.
the mall property only?
Yeah, the perimeter, the restaurants, and the different shops around them.
Okay. How about outside of the mall property?
No, he's mainly focused to the mall. Now, he can have a call for service that'll pull him from the mall property if there's a need. I know that Deputy Miles at times will go out to Marine Corps Park or out to a county call, or he's responded to issues outside of the mall's private property area, but he's basically based within the mall.
Yeah. No, it's a great thing. The relationship is a great thing as well. But we do have lots of regional shopping around the mall. I'm sorry, man, we've had a chance to.
So here's the. So.
I understand that.
So the reason I pulled this is, when we first got into this agreement with the mall, I believe they were paying 25% of the service. We expanded to the second deputy when we had the economic downturn. The city manager pulled that second deputy out because the mall wouldn't increase their amount. Currently, they're paying about 10%. That's less than the liability insurance coverage for that guy out there, okay? What has been the discussion with them on this issue? And who's been having that discussion?
Well, I could ask Curtis Cannon to come on up. And
Oh, sure, throw the new guy in there.
well, he is our economic development manager, and he did have an opportunity to work with the staff person, Stacy Andrews, on this item.
And they have brought this deal forward as a result of that discussion.
Yes.
Yes, we had a chance to meet with the general manager and his assistant and staff on this issue, and actually their request was to see if we could get more service out there.
Of course, at this rate.
Right, and of course that was a no from staff's perspective, and this is actually an increase. This dollar amount is a little bit of an increase. It's not much, but it's a little bit of an increase over the last dollar amount that was being paid. Yes.
The dollar amount, but not the percentage, because when this was at 25%, don't think you were here, the council's direction was that they were to go back to the mall and renegotiate this thing to get better return, because of the fact that we're subsidizing this by over 90%. We're almost paying for the whole thing, and they're basically covering the insurance, okay? And I think that's profoundly unfair to the rest of the community. And we've got one deputy covering the mall, which is basically, you got two deputies covering the entire west side of the city, going out the far west end. And before, the reason was, well, the economy's really tough. We gave them a break, but we specifically said we wanted them to come back and be able to cover more of that cost because of the fact that it was basically the deputy was dedicated there. When I suggested we go to the other stores, shopping centers, and do a similar thing and to allow that coverage to improve, to cover some of those other west side under the title of a retail detail, the other store said no, we shouldn't have to pay that, So I'm still, I understand the mall is a major economic generator here, but we don't assign a deputy to any other retail area. We don't assign a dedicated deputy to any one particular spot like we do there. They need to be coming to the table and doing a better job. And we've been repeatedly assured that they actually pay a much larger percentage in some of their other facilities. I am not happy with this. This is not fair to everybody else that's sitting out there that's waiting 45 minutes for a cop when there's one that can walk around the mall and handle issues over there. Now I understand they get busy, but they either got to, pay or get off the ladder. They're barely covering the insurance to have that deputy out there.
You're right. There's more to it than that, though, because you also have you have paid security at the mall that complements the deputy. And we can get into all that depth of what's going on and the way we dispatch out of our Palmdale station to the entire city, depending on need. Those are all other factors that play into this. And it, quite frankly, it's been working pretty good.
It has not. It has not, because when we have still only 2 deputies on the west side of the city and 2 deputies on the far east side of the city, but you got 1 deputy dedicated to the mall for 40 hours, and everybody's still paying for that. I mean, anybody else we can pay a little bit more and we can get another deputy in your neighborhood? We could do that.
He didn't even want to take, when I lost a diamond ring at the mall, the cop didn't want to take my pin. Somebody turned it in, and the manager of the mall was the one that gave to return my diamond ring.
I absolutely support, and this item came forward originally.
I'm sorry, I wasn't here.
Yeah, this item originally came forward because I saw what they were doing down in Burbank, Glendale with their detail, and I asked, I forget who the captain was at the time, if this was a possibility. And I am 1,000% in support of having the deputy out there. And our deputy, and right now we have absolutely probably the best guy that we could have out there is there. That guy, he does a great job with the kids and the families. I mean, he's a stand-up guy. The mall needs to be doing a better job here, guys. To barely be covering the liability insurance for that cop in the course of their payment is inadequate to the balance of the city.
Well, I choose to work with the professionals. Your point you're making is fine. I'd love to see more too. But I'm relying on law enforcement professionals to help us with a citywide plan to deal with crime. We're at historic lows, so something is going on correctly at the same time. Now, you can go back and negotiate all day long with them all. But if you're not going to get the better deal, we still have to move forward.
They're paying more at other facilities.
Well, maybe they are. But
but the staff has told us that in the past.
Let me be clear about people speaking out. This is a hearing. We've had an opportunity to come forward if you had an item on the consent calendar to speak. And if you chose to, you got an opportunity to do so. If you chose not to, you lost your opportunity on this consent calendar. So please respect others now that have their opportunity to speak. Are we clear? Otherwise, you get chaos, ladies and gentlemen. So the point is on this, we have an opportunity to move forward on this agreement. We can give direction to go negotiate harder and try to get a better deal. I'm all good about that, but I say we don't want to wait tonight for that new deal to come. I say we move on this and then direct our city manager to...
Okay, I'll move to approve this with the provision that it's a 1 year to be renewed following discussions, and I'd like the city manager to get directly involved in that. Because again, this is not a new topic with that entity and with the general manager over there. He knows the topic. We get new staff, we get new people up here, they count on everybody forgetting about it.
You got a new owner out there too.
Okay.
So that relationship can start anew.
I'll second that. I think we're doing good. We can do a little better.
Yep.
Okay, anybody else wish to speak? Got a motion second? Let's do a voice vote, please.
Mayor Ledford?
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tim Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer?
Yes.
Bishop?
Yes.
We have 4 yeses with Laura Betancourt abstaining.
All right. Fair enough. We passed item 718.
716.
16. Well, I've got 18.
Now we're down to 18. Yeah.
We're on 18, we have 22 and 24 left.
Wait for Laura on 18.
Those items are the fireworks.
Fireworks or fireworks.
718, this is a fireworks booth permit for 41 nonprofits.
Well, first let me say that I should have explained that I had to go in the back because I work for the sheriff's department, so I couldn't vote on that. I took the time to clean up the back room so nobody saw all our messes.
Well, good thing you're here.
Yeah, I didn't realize people were going there and saying,
Clean up
oh,
after the
it was
boys.
quite a mess back there. Okay, so 718, I polled. I'm opposed to the illegal fireworks in the Antelope Valley, and I am praying this year. I live on the east side, and every 4th of July, it is like a war zone on the east side. Not because of the Safe and Sane, but because of all the illegal fireworks that come into our area. I am begging our residents to please, since we have approved these Safe and Sane booths, please use them. Please don't bring in the illegal fireworks. It's hard on the neighbors, it's hard on the animals, it's hard on the life in general for the week before and the week after. So, if we approve these, which we probably are, there's a reason we have the Safe and Sane booths. It helps the charities, and it gives people opportunity to use fireworks that are legal and approved. But you know what I'm talking about in these neighborhoods when you see these things up in the air and you go outside and you have to hose down your lawn because you've got stuff landing in your yard. Those are not approved. So I just want to put a plea out there on behalf of your neighbors, your community, the animals, the fires. Please use Safe and Sane. Please purchase your fireworks through these booths and don't buy the illegal ones and bring them into our city, because you will suffer fines, big fines, if you get caught with the illegal fireworks. So that's what I wanted to pull in.
You raise a good point.
I think that was well said. I think a lot of us have problems with, noises from animals. We all had some spooked from it. And some of the other issues that she brought up, the brush fires and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of those issues are coming from the illegal fireworks, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not the sparklers and fountains.
Yeah, not the sparklers and fountains, but this is good because it's going to provide profit for 41 nonprofits would benefit off of this. That go directly right into benefiting our city. But I do want our citizens to be aware that it's going to be a dry summer, and those fireworks that you shoot into the air are totally illegal and very dangerous.
And don't be afraid to report your neighbor. If stuff is going up in the air, it can land in your yard, on your roof, in your trees, burn down your property. Report your neighbors. It's the right thing to do. And this year we're also bringing back our fireworks show, so there's absolutely no reason to bring in the illegal fireworks. We're offering you 41 booths to buy Safe and Sane. We're offering you a fireworks show. And so, please keep the illegal fireworks out of our city. I'm just begging you.
These
please.
guys, they're going off already, right? Y'all seeing them right now. Well, they're advertising is what they're doing. They're trying to get you stirred up to come over and, I got the good stuff. But a lot of that stuff is actually a felony. Sometimes just possession of one piece is a felony. And if you got some of the smaller stuff in an adequate quantity, it's a felony. Now, if you saw another felon, somebody acting in the course of a felony, you'd call it in. Call it in early, call it in often, be a pest, all right? And give them an address. Because if you say, well, it's kind of around 40th and X, they're going to drive by and they're not going to see anything, and that's going to be the end of it. You give them an address and you're going to get a knock on the door. Maybe somebody will think twice about it. But here's a tip. If it goes in the air, if it explodes, and if you got it out of somebody's trunk, it's probably illegal.
It's most definitely illegal. Yeah. But I would say the issue really is much bigger than cities. We talk about this every year. City of Palmdale, we have legal Safe and Sane fireworks. You still got all this illegal stuff. They're illegal. You cannot tell the difference. And go to the county, same thing. It's just aerial bombardment going on valley-wide. And cities doing their best to try to deal with this. But quite frankly, it's going to require something much different. I think at a state level maybe is what's required. Maybe The importation from other states is a problem. Seems to be unchecked, because you look around at the fireworks, they're blowing off some serious dollars during these holidays. I got to tell you, it's a bigger problem than you're going to find just cities in California. We need help at the state level, I think, to curb this.
You know, write your state legislator, because the state cut the budget back on the state fire marshal. They used to stake out the booths in Pahrump and on the Indian reservations. And if you had a California plate, and you loaded that trunk up or you loaded that U-Haul up, and you pulled off, they'd call it over, and you get pulled over and you get busted, okay? They're not doing that like they used to. So here's the deal. This guy's got a trunk load of stuff or a garage full of stuff. He could kill your kids with that thing going up, okay? Could kill a fireman when a fire goes off in that place. So you don't want to be the guy that said, gee, I should have called, okay? Make the call and give him an address.
And we are going to have more sheriffs from the department on and around July 4th, keeping an eye out for this stuff. So there will be fines and there will be penalties for anybody that's breaking the rules to shoot fireworks off into the air.
Significant portion of that comes from the booths themselves. The nonprofits all pay a fee that goes toward augmenting the overtime for the deputies for that period. But again, if you wait until July 3rd or 4th, you need to be calling them in now.
And I just want to add to that, yeah, let's be sensitive about the animals who don't like those loud noises, but also small children, because they're also very sensitive to those big loud noises, those big explosions. I have little ones, when they were 1 and 2, we couldn't really enjoy coming out to the street to see the legal fireworks, because we take the babies out and there goes the illegal firework. They get scared, and we just have to take them back into the house to lessen the noise. It's still audible, still hear it, but it's very, very sensitive to small children as well. So I also ask you to keep that in mind. Let's stick to the safe and sane fireworks, which are available. Again, I'd just like to echo what everybody else says. We
Some of our veterans have an issue with that. The guys with PTSD have a problem with that. So be smart, people.
Other questions? How about a motion?
I move to approve.
Second?
Got a motion second. Last discussion? Not seeing any. Let's do a voice vote.
Mayor Ledford?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer?
Yes.
Bettencourt?
Yes.
Bishop?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
All right, let's go now to item 7.22.
I pulled 7.22 and a 7.24 because that's very close to my residence, and so I'm not able to vote on them. So I'm going to go back into the back room and finish cleaning while you guys talk about these.
I have a question. Why are you using this? Because it's close to your residence?
They're both Westfield from my
More
house.
projects for the east side.
I just don't want to have any problems. In an abundance of caution, I'm not going to vote on these because it's right next to my house.
Okay.
More east side projects. Okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve the items.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Any other discussion? Voice vote, please.
Mayor Ledford?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer?
Yes.
Bishop?
Yes.
4 yes with Councilmember Bettencourt abstaining.
All right, somebody can go get Councilwoman Bittencourt again. We got one more item. Yeah, 24. So our last item on the consent calendar is 724.
Did we do both of those in that motion?
Yeah,
Did both?
the motion was for both of those.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yes.
All right, then we're done.
No, 23.
23.
All right, who wanted 23 pulled? What's your item?
No, I just wanted to point out that I would encourage my colleagues to approve this thing. The bus stop maintenance is a cooperative by the AVTA, which is a cooperative between our cities and the county. And that crew's been doing an outstanding job. When you stop and look at the at many of the contract services that we have out there, this is the one we don't get the complaints about. And I would just encourage that, I mean, this is the one where we used to get all the complaints because they were really bad. And they're doing a really, really good job. They're very responsive. If they get an issue that comes up, I mean, they're on it right away. So I would just, this is the model we need to look at for other contracting services. Performance is.
You do a good job.
Very well. Very good.
All right. Other questions or comments? Or motion?
Move to approve.
Second?
Got a motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion? Let's do a voice vote, please.
Mayor Ledford?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer?
Yes.
Bettencourt?
Yes?
Bishop?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
All right. We're now going to our item 8. Item 8 is a joint public hearing. City Council. Good. Item 8, this is our joint public hearing for our budget adoption. So what I need to do is call to order a few other agencies, so I will at this time. Our Housing Authority, I'll call it to order. If I can get well, I think we're going to do a voice vote for all of them. So I'll call to order the Housing Authority, the Industrial Development Authority, the Palmdale Airport Authority, and I'm also going to call to order the, I think I need to do successor agency. I think I have finance. All right, I think we got it. Housing, Industrial, Airport, Civic Authority.
And successor agency.
And successor agency.
And Finance Authority.
And Finance Authority.
Yep. And the Finance Authority. Got a lot of authorities here.
Yes, we do.
All right, would you like to go?
Yes, yes. Okay, this is a joint hearing for our budget. So Karen, or I'll go to the city manager, Jim Burchie. Want to start us off with something?
Certainly. So we'll be presenting our 2018-19 budget. What we've done is hold a couple of workshops and a meeting last month in regard to the budget, the priorities that have been established by the City Council. And Karen Johnson will be presenting a synopsis of that. This may be one of the only budget presentations you see that have almost no numbers in it. And that's really because we've covered those numbers multiple times at this point. We're bringing forward a balanced budget. We have a good 5-year projection. And so we wanted to focus on what are we doing to meet the priorities of the council going forward and the priorities of the community. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Karen.
Thank you, Jim. First of all, Mayor and council members, the item being considered tonight are the joint resolution numbers CC 2018-043, SA 2018-006, PCA 2018-002, HA 2018-002, IDA 2018-002, PAA 2018-002, PFA 2018-002. And I'll read the resolution, a joint resolution of the City Council of the City of Palmdale, the successor agency to the Community Development Agency of the City of Palmdale, the Palmdale Civic Authority, the Housing Authority of the City of Palmdale, the Industrial Development Authority, the Palmdale Airport Authority of the City of Palmdale, and the Palmdale Financing Authority approving and adopting the City of Palmdale's budget for the fiscal year 2018-19 and approving revenue and expenditure adjustments to the fiscal year 2017-18. So the budget document has been available to the public and since the budget workshop that we had on May 1st. And tonight, as Jim indicated, this slide presentation will just give you just a little review of our process. I was told that our presentations are kind of boring, so we went with a little bit more of a narrative, and hopefully we can get everybody excited about the budget that we are putting forth for adoption. So before we recommend that we open the public hearing, we will go through this. Our budget process starts in January, And it starts internally. We start preparing for projections and start meeting with departments to see the needs and looking at our strategic plan and to be sure that we stay within our strategic plan. We use it as a guide. On February 6th, one of our council meetings, we did review the priorities. We polled the city council and we reviewed the priorities of the city council. We listened to their input and took that and ran with it to develop this budget. So on the budget, on May 1st, when we had our budget workshop, we showed you all the numbers, lots of numbers. We showed you that our operating budget was balanced. We also show you that we are looking at a balanced, an operating reserve of 30% in this year and going forward to 2021-22 when we start dipping below the 30%. But not only are we showing for 18-19 a 30% operating reserve, we are showing other reserves that we're setting aside for areas that are volatile and hard to forecast, such as capital replacement, infrastructure improvements, and economic sustainability. So this budget does include the council priorities, and we'll go to the next slide and just review what some of those priorities were by the council. Public safety and security, economic development, completion of the existing parks, park safety, infrastructure and streets, and nuisance abatement. As I said, our budget document was developed keeping our strategic plan in mind. Our strategic plan, we try to show you what it looks like in this wheel, and you can see that we have 3 different areas: community, economy, and organization. Under community includes our parks and culture. You want to go back to them. And under the community, it also includes neighborhood preservation, community engagement, and safety. Under economy, it includes the regulatory approach, retail revitalization, diversification, and infrastructure. And under the organization, it includes communication in and out, financial health, and employee development, and quality services to the public. So in our budget this year, under the first area, sustainable community, we want to remind you, and we did go over a lot of these things. Jim went over it in detail, and our departments also came up and talked about the different things that they were doing with their budgets that we will adopt tonight. So some of the things that we see is that we've achieved the lowest crime rate in 23 years. We will complete rehab existing parks. That includes Yellen and Corson. We'll add new park programs and events, increase community engagement and partnerships. There's budget in the 18-19 budget to develop Palmdale alcohol responsibility training, to develop the Measure A strategies for the parks that we have in place, utilize Measure H homeless plan, and upgrade the Emergency Operations Center and staff preparedness. Under sustainable economy, our budget includes amounts to cover and enhance economic development and marketing programs. It also includes budget to develop the local workforce. That includes partners with LA County WIO program, JVS, SoCal, TSE program, AFAB, and AV College. It includes budget to construct substantial CIP projects citywide totaling $128.5 million, of which $126 is funded through special funding, around $2 million from general fund. It includes budget to invest substantial amount in public works maintenance, including adding full-time positions to help maintain parks and also other areas in the city. We've invested, including in the budget, amounts to cover the general plan update. We also have money to implement the Public Arts Master Plan and to promote public and private partnerships. Under sustainable organization, we've been able to maintain, as I mentioned, a 30% operating reserve. And we are showing that up through 21, 22. We start seeing it dip under the 30%, but we have a good 6 years, 5 to 6 years before we have to really address it. But we're constantly looking at the forecasts and adjusting it so that we are on top of any changes, or those that we can predict anyway. We're setting aside other reserves for hard to forecast areas. So the end of 18-19, we'll have over $6 million set aside for these hard to forecast areas. We've invested in pension stabilization trust fund in this year, and we will continue. We've included in the projection to continue to fund that. We have budget to upgrade the IT network and telephone system, budget to improve the wireless access improvements at the city facilities. Also, we've included budget to automate council agenda management, invest in staff development and skill building, and of course, we continue to work toward providing competitive wages. We have included a cost of living increase of 2% for our employees starting July 9th. So that concludes my presentation.
So, what's your bond rating?
We have a good bond rating of A, I think it's AA minus, A minus, so very good, very good.
Okay. So,
Any questions to what I presented so far?
Why is the 2% COLA between on July 9th and not July 1st?
We use the July 9th because that's the first pay period that gives us a full pay period instead of splitting it. It becomes a little bit of a nightmare for payroll.
Okay. That's all. I tried. I have a question on the capital improvement projects, capital improvement programs. On the project P0009, yeah, it's Jalen Park. This has the figures for what I believe were phase 1. Since we, the council, decided to complete the parks that we already have, unless I missed it, but I don't see phase 2 as part of the capital improvement programs. Is that, what's the reason?
That is you are correct. We do not have budget in for phase 2. We're working on the other projects that we have in play to help finalize those first. I don't know, Jim, if you have anything you want to...
Well, on the slide, there's said to finish Young Park and Corson with this budget. So I know that there's some efforts to get some grants, and there are also other efforts we're trying to find out so that we can complete more parks. But it's just confusing for me to see that there's a slide there for completion of existing parks that the council agreed on. Yet on this project, on this list, what is provided is phase 1. I know you have an explanation.
So on this one, it would be completion of phase 1 of Yellen Park. It would not include phase 2. I think that's really where we're going to be using the Measure A funds and put together a parks committee and so forth to figure out how and when we're going to expend Measure A, and whether it's for park expansion and so forth. And so we do have budget. The budget that's in there in the 18-19 budget is partly grant funding. It's for the shade structures at Yellen Park. And so we have received that grant, actually signed the grant agreement today. So it's really a modest amount for some of the play structure and the shade structure. And then once we make a decision on Measure A in regard to are we going to issue bonds, are we going to advance that money, that would be when we would make amendments to the budget to add for phase 2 of Yellen Park.
But the goal of completion of those parks still is there. Now it's the implementation. How do we get there for individual projects? It's going to take money.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. So what we can expect is to have this be kicked out to 1920, provided we don't get any grants or we don't find any other mechanisms.
I would expect those goals will stay until we're done.
Okay.
However
So
long
I
it
would
takes.
agree with that, as long as they stay there and we make sure that.
Right, it will continue in the 10-year capital improvement plan. So this is the capital improvement program, which is the actual expenditure. So the plan continues on. The money for Yellen, or the need for money for Yellen to finish phase 2 is within that plan. This is our expenditure at this point. If we were able to obtain grants or be competitive under Measure A for grant funding, we'll amend the budget and bring that money in for expending.
Okay.
Where we at on Rancho Vista Park? That's another park that was started, and it's all the infrastructure's there, and everybody was promised that park was going to be coming sooner as opposed to later, because we did everything initially when we gave up the 1.5 acres for the fire station, brought all the infrastructure in. It's still a dirt lot.
So there's about $400,000 a year in Measure A for the west side portion of Palmdale, as the county's broken it up, and about $600,000 a year set aside for the east side. If we were to issue bonds, we could go to a maximum of about 15 times that money. And so multi-million-dollar bond issuance could help us in regard to finishing multiple parks throughout the city. In order to do that, there's an extensive engagement component in Measure A that we would have to follow under the agreement. I think it's also just a good idea to put together another citizens group if we're going to make big expenditures moving forward. Then part of the money or part of the budget that we have is to start working with the citizens group.
So I think we already did that a couple of times, and as part of the precursor to this Measure A even being passed. And that was the whole purpose of everybody coming out and putting dots on the boards. And, it's just, I can just tell you, folks out on the west side are getting very frustrated because, Rancho Vista probably got more votes than a number of other facilities combined. And somehow it just kind of keeps getting kicked down the road. And we've got to do something about that, because that thing, it's been 25 years.
Well, we are doing something. They're teed up, they're priorities. It's a matter of finding the money, and then we program it. So it's a matter of, we maintain our focus, we're going to get there.
I just want to jump in on that, because I think that we should be also focused on public-private partnerships. And that's something that I've been, ever since I got here, I've been talking about doing this partnership. And I think that Matt is working on that, and I think that fairly soon we're going to get an update on that. I've been talking to our city manager about doing an indoor soccer facility at a public park, specifically Jelen. I know that you've been working on that with the recreation director, but it looks like it's getting to be a real feasibility to explore those options. Why? Because other cities do it. Right. South is one of them. When we went to the city league, or the complex cities, I was able to talk to them and the council members and staff, and they have a great solution for something that we would really benefit, to have those private partnerships. And it doesn't have to be soccer, it can be any other sport facility.
Are we talking to those people?
So we're testing the waters right now. We have an RFI out on the street. I think it's due in either a week or two in regard to the indoor soccer and going into a partnership with one of our parks, and we're bringing a private operator to run an indoor soccer program. So we'll find out in the next 2 weeks what kind of interest there's been. We've sent it out to multiple vendors. We've taken vendors out to the various parks in the city that we feel might be amenable to that. And so we'll see within a couple weeks what kind of response we get. If we're not getting a lot of response, we'll do some more outreach, make sure we're getting that interest out there. And so that's all pending, and I think we can have significant partnerships going forward.
Yeah. If we continued those discussions on those same exact lines, the folks from the new owners over at the Rancho Vista development, the golf course and the shopping center, and they were looking for a legacy project. Has there been follow-up with them on that?
I have not had a conversation with them on that since that first conversation.
You need to follow up with them, otherwise it just gets lost.
It helps, at least, yeah, they got to continually show they're interested as well. So it's a two-way street. We're heading down that road. And they're learning at the same time. All right, any other questions so far? Because what I'd like to do is open it up to the public hearing, which I'll do. Go ahead and open the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak on this item, you merely have to give us your name for the record. Anybody? Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Gary Moskalik. I'd like to speak on the Avenue S corridor that we did last month. It's been quite a while since I attended one of these meetings, maybe 8 or 9 years ago when this issue came up before. And so now I'm having to deal with it again, and you said that an Avenue S corridor study was going to be necessary before they could move on. And a couple of the things that had happened at the meeting, you had mentioned that it was going to be paid for by the contractor. And I think, at least speaking for myself, and maybe in a small neighborhood that's going to be affected by this, that we want something impartial and fair.
I would agree, and if I could just tell you how it would work, they would contribute to a fund. The city would actually do the hiring of the person for the corridor.
Yeah, you want them to.
Yeah, so we understand what you're saying. You're right on the money. And we do not put it in their hands. We contract it through the city.
Yeah, it will be an impartial person or survey.
It just
not on their
sounded like, that they would be buying their way in somewhere.
No, but they are going to pay for their own work to master plan the corridor. We're really talking west of the freeway on Avenue West, ladies and gentlemen. This is west of the freeway, heading into Anaverdi and Ritter Ranch.
Yeah.
That whole area needs to be master planned. It's been our position for a number of years. The recession came, and it really put everything off. And so now we're back, and that master plan has still got to come forward.
Right, yeah, and we all agree with that, and we're not, opposed to developing, but we want it to blend in. And, to have something that would be not fitting with the lifestyle that's been created there. And those of us that are, most of us are long-term residents there. I've been there for 17 years. And we've put a lot of money into our properties. This is, a wonderful place to live. Really close to work for me, too. Yeah. By the way, I've just gotten a Palmdale business license. I wanted to compliment you on the staff there that just made it so smooth for me, and I'm starting a new business. So, again, I just wanted to say that they were just wonderful for somebody that's just starting a business for the first time.
That's what we like to hear.
And so, again, I'd like to compliment you on that, and the dog adoption. And my last 6 or 7 dogs have been adopted from shelters.
That dog could have been yours. You still
But
can.
I have, see, because it's got big and small. And it just
Maybe you need to step up.
Thank you so much for
Thank you. Very good. Anybody else wish to speak? Yes, ma'am.
I know this was kind of a general discussion about the budget, but we kind of got on track as far as parks go and maybe the expansions of parks. And I heard that familiar word, bond. I was involved with the bond that created the water park area and the expansion of Marie Kerr. I believe that the success of that bond was that we as a community committed to completing and delivering everything that was promised in that bond. Now, finances got a little center on that, and the city did step up center at the Marie Kerr because the finances did run out. It was just a tough time. So the city did step up, and we did use all the bond money for, for what we said. But the projects were not all completed that were promised to the citizens. So I think if we're looking at more park facilities and possibly another bond, I think the main thing to look at is when you ask people to step up again, I think you should make sure that you're able to say you delivered the first time. Thank
Good
you.
point. All right, who else might like to speak? All right, seeing none, how about a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. And now, it's back to us, council. Any further question or motion we could approve?
I'll make a motion.
Okay?
I'll second.
And Councilwoman Bidcourt seconds. Okay, we got a motion second. Any discussion now?
I just want to thank our staff, city manager, for putting together a tight budget that keeps us on track, keeps our reserves up, keeps the city financially healthy, and lays down a very strong and solid foundation for the future for all of us. So thank you.
I would agree, and I want to compliment the staff. Living within the direction of the council, which isn't always easy, but I think you're hitting it, and it's a good working document. It doesn't have everything we want, ladies and gentlemen, but it gets the items that are most important covered, and we'll continue to work and get this thing done.
I just want to say that I'm happy to see that the general plan amendment has been addressed at this budget for the first time in a long time.
Long time.
Yeah, a long time. So thank you for your hard work in making sure that we have the ability to adopt a new general plan.
All right.
I also, the general plan is overdue. I thank you, Mr. Pertee, for hearing that and getting that department staffed up so that we're going to be able to move forward on that. And I look forward to resolution to some of these park issues over this next year. That's going to be priority one in my book, because again, we make promises, we got to keep them. Can't keep changing them. So I appreciate the fact that we're working at refocusing now.
Okay, got a motion second. I'm going to call for the question, or better yet, the voice vote.
Okay. Mayor Chair Ledford,
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tem Vice Chair Carrillo,
Yes.
Member Directors Commissioner Hoffbauer,
Yes.
Bettencourt,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Brown, Chalakian.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It passes with Chalakian absent.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to bear with me. I'm going through all these agendas I called to order. I want to complete them out and recess them at the public hearing portion. We'll do all our public hearing at one time. So I'm going to start with the Airport Authority. We've already done, no, we haven't. We need to do the consent calendar. Anybody wish to talk about the consent calendar in the public? This is regarding our Palmdale Airport Authority. Seeing none, how about a motion from the council on the consent calendar for approval?
Second.
Got a motion second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So ordered. With that, I'll recess to the public comment period of the Airport Authority. Let's now go to the Palmdale Financing Authority. Same thing, consent calendar item 4.1, minutes from the previous meeting. Anybody wish to make comment on that? Merely come forward and give us your name. Seeing none, anybody on the council have a discussion or a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay, we got a motion two motions to approve.
Second.
And a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. And I'll recess that now to the public comment period. Let's now go to the Civic Authority. Same thing, we have the consent calendar.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, but let's now ask if anybody in the audience wish to speak to this item. You merely come forward and give us your name for the record. All right, seeing none, we have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. And I'll recess that to the public comment period as well. Let's now go to the Industrial Development Authority. We're at the consent calendar. Anybody from the public wish to speak? Seeing none, council, motion?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So ordered. It's recessed to the public comment period. Let's now go to the Housing Authority. We're at the consent calendar. Again, minutes. Anybody from the audience wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, council? Motion?
Housing Authority.
Housing Authority, yep, you're right. Thank you, Matt. He's keeping me on track. Council Authority. Okay, council? Motion?
Second.
And a second? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? So ordered. That's now recessed to public comment period. Now we're at the Successor Agency. Successor Agency has got a consent calendar of several items. Anybody from the audience wish to speak to the Successor Agency consent calendar? We got monthly report on balance, investment balances. We have a resolution for Community Redevelopment Agency designation by title for who's going to sign checks. That's for, I'm sure, for JJ, our newest. We have a resolution for Community Redevelopment Agency setting the investment policy and minutes. Anybody wish to speak to those items? You merely come forward and give us your name for the record. Seeing none, how about a motion from the council? Got a motion?
Second.
And a second? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? So ordered. Okay, I'll recess the Successor Agency to the public comment period as well. Okay, we have come full circle. We're back to our City Council meeting, and we're at appointments, item 9. So let's jump in.
Mayor, could we move that item? I think we got quite a few people here on 11, and I'd like to ask if we could move that item forward so those folks can just read.
New business item?
Yes, sir.
I'm okay with new business item. Anybody else? Let's move new business item 11.5 forward. And this is consideration of Avenue N being renamed and to add R. Lee Ermey Avenue to Avenue N, in parentheses, direct staff to take necessary action to start the approval process with the City of Palmdale, City of Lancaster, and Los Angeles County. So Chuck Heffernan is going to give us a report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor Ledford, members of the City Council. Before you tonight is the City Council's consideration of Avenue N being renamed R. Lee Ermey Avenue with Avenue N in parentheses. This dual naming has a successful history in the Antelope Valley, including Rancho Vista Boulevard, Avenue P, and others. And staff recommends that you consider this item and give direction for us to carry forward and work with the other cities and bring you back a recommendation, budget, etc.
Okay, questions? Do we have a lead time for the freeway signs? They seem to be the long-term item.
Correct. That'd be one of the first things we would start working on. The budget that you see in the staff report is something that we pulled and increased slightly from the work that we did with Rancho Vista Boulevard. So that comes directly from that. I don't know exactly how long that took, but yes, that will take quite a while, and we'll start working on that immediately.
Okay.
At least the groundwork, we would have to we wouldn't be able to commit anything, obviously, until we went with the county and the City of Lancaster.
You know, these things become a process, not an event, it seems like. We've been over 2 years since we decided we wanted Larry Chimbole Highway. That was just going to be 2 signs, and it's taken like 2 years. So that's why when this discussion started going, that's why I asked you, let's put it on the agenda so we can get this thing moving forward. I know the guys over at the brewery were working on the project. There are a number of citizen groups out there. The family was, looking to move this thing forward. And, if we talk about this too long to get in the same position, as we did with this other one. So I think we just, I think there's, I've gotten quite a lot of input on this. I know you have. Those of us are over at the brewery on it, and there's been a lot of discussion on social media relative to this. So I think that it's worked well. Highland, Bulldog, Columbia, Rancho Vista Boulevard would afford to come to mind.
Technology.
Technology, yep. All was relatively seamless. The complicating factor is the county and the state, so I think we just need to move forward with this item.
Well, we need forward to get them going.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it comes down to. Locally, I think we're in pretty good shape. Other questions at this time? Any other questions? What I'd like to do is call for public comment. We have a few people that'd like to speak to this item. So if you mind coming forward, just give us your name for the record. Tell us what you think. We try to keep it within a 3-minute timeline so we can get to go home sometime tonight. This is a pretty good item, though. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and everyone. My name is Christian G. I'm the unit commander for Port Sill Young Marines. The Young Marines is a volunteer organization throughout the nation for boys and girls ages 8 to 18. Arlie Ermey was the celebrity spokesperson for the Young Marines program. And when we had his funeral a few weeks ago, we had Young Marines from Antelope Valley Young Marines and Port Sill Young Marines attend, as well as the National Executive Director of the program, Colonel Davis, who flew out from Washington, D.C., where our organization is headquartered. With the growing presence of the Young Marines program in our community, we have 2 units out here, and there are some places throughout the country where there are no units yet. And so I think our community is fortunate to have these young men and women who are willing to step up and volunteer and lead healthy and drug-free lifestyles and promote that. A good way to honor Arlie Ermey for representing such a program would be to rename the avenue. I have 2 Young Marines here that have been in the program for more than 5 years, and they're going to be speaking later on another subject during the public comments. But I know that they have had the opportunity to see the impact that Arlie Ermey has had, not only as a spokesman for their program, but also in inspiring them to military service in the Marine Corps and other services. So I just want to say on behalf of the Young Marines program and our unit in particular that we would definitely support this, and I hope you will too. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And by the way, good job. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. My name is Kevin Sanders, Marine veteran. And I'd like to say that there's been no other military person in my lifetime that does as much for our Marines and our other veterans overseas in this town. He's a hero. He's a hero, a Marine's Marine. I strongly encourage you to move forward with this budget. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Andrea LaFleur, and I actually live on N, so it would actually impact my address. I agree. I think that we should definitely change. My husband's a Marine, and I've just seen the impact through being a part of the town for so many years and him being a celebrity of our town and the impact that he's had on so many young people and the Marines in the area. And I think it would be a good tribute to him, and I think that it's important that we do that and bring our city together.
Very good.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, that's all the assertive speakers. Oh, let's bring the shy ones up now.
Oh man, here comes Bob. You know, I'm Bob Alvis, local veterans advocate. Some of you know me. And of course, I'm behind this project 100%. One of the things when I deal with the veterans community around the valley, who inspires? Lee Ermey was a man that inspired thousands and thousands of people. And you didn't have to be in uniform for him to inspire you. He brought a patriotism, he brought a respect to this country through his actions, Even if sometimes it was a little salty, we loved him for every word that he said, and we knew where it came from because it came from his heart. And that's why and stuff, when I look around the valley and I see the names of things like that, so we need to remember the people in our valley that have made a great difference, not only for our community, but for our nation. And so that's why I'm behind this 100%. And unlike the military, I hope we can figure out a way, because Steve says we need to move this on. So I don't want the military aspect of hurry up and wait, which we learned in boot camp very fast. I'd like to see this thing really happen by Veterans Day if it's all possible. Because you know what, stuff, let's not lose the drive in the community and stuff to make this happen for this great man. So thank you.
Yes, sir.
Keith LaFleur. I'm a former Marine, and honorable men deserve to be honored. And I think that would be a very honorable thing for that separate days.
Excellent. All right, who else? Well, I think this is way popular, no doubt about it, and a big opportunity for us as a city and to participate in a valley-wide effort. Again, both cities and the county are involved. How can you be involved? That's really the next question, because we have scoped out the project. We do have a finance number that we need to go, and the goal here is to do community fundraising within the Antelope Valley and the nation. And so that's the next step, I think, in this process, once we get approval out of all the jurisdictions, is to move forward on that aspect of the project. And it'll go as quick as the fundraising can make it happen. And we know the freeway is our long-term item, so that's our focus immediately. And then we'll work it out from there. We've had other discussions about a musical road as part of this project. I think that's going to be all relative, again, to our capacity to get out there and fundraise. So this is an opportunity for us to now get that next phase in place and get ready to pull the trigger on that. And we go on a nationwide campaign here to get this project done. And so it's an exciting one, and I think it's one that's going to unite our valley. It already has, and certainly shown our veterans do have a special place in our heart. So I think that's kind of in a nutshell, I think. Unless we have other comments from the council, we can entertain the business.
I'd like to move that we direct the staff to move forward with the renaming of Avenue N, to co-name it as Arlie Jeremy Avenue, and to take the necessary action to work through the process with the other jurisdictions.
I'll second that.
We got a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? Let's do a voice vote.
Mayor Ledford?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer?
Yes?
Bettencourt?
Yes.
Bishop?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Very good. All right. This project's going to make us proud, no doubt. All right, we're back to the appointments. Item 9 on the agenda. 9.1. These are nominations. So our first one is the library board. We have 2 members. They wish to be reappointed. This time I'll call for any public comments on the appointments. Anybody wish to make comment? All right. Seeing none, I made my nomination motion.
You got a second?
Well, I guess we don't need a second. Any discussion from the council? How about a voice vote?
Mayor Ledford?
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer?
Yes.
Bettencourt?
Yes.
Bishop?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
All right, let's go now to item 9.2. It's another nomination for myself regarding the Mobile Home Park Rental Review Board. We have 2, again, Diana Love, Deborah Foley. Their terms are about to expire. They're wishing to be reappointed. I'll call for any comments from the public. Anybody from the public wish to make comment on this item? Seeing none, that's my nomination. So council, any questions?
It's not, the criteria and everything, this is not an easy one to fill sometimes.
Nope. Nope, volunteers are tough.
Yeah, it gets such narrow criteria for each one of these spots though, so.
All right, how about a voice vote then?
Mayor Ledford?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer?
Yes.
Bettencourt?
Yes.
Bishop?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
All right, let's go to item 9.3. This will be council approval of Councilman Bishop's nomination for reappointment of Angela French.
You take both of them?
Well, there's something to
They're combined into one?
We want to do them together?
They're the same item.
Okay, so we have Angela French and Dina Ward for District 2. Is the public wish to make comment on either one of those appointments? Seeing none. Anybody from the council want to make comment? Hearing none. How about a voice vote?
This one requires a motion and a second.
Okay, move to approve the item.
Second?
We have a motion and a second.
Mayor Ledford?
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer?
Yes.
Bettencourt?
Yes.
Bishop?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Let's go to item 9.4. This is council approval of Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo's nominee. This is Angel Olvera for appointment to District 4. Any public comment at this time? Seeing none. Council?
Second that?
Well, first I want to have a discussion because I'm confused. I thought we had just appointed somebody less than a year ago to this position, and they just completed planning school at taxpayers' expense. So I'm a little confused as to why we're removing that person and putting somebody else in who's going to then have to go to the planning school again.
I agree with you.
I'm just confused. I don't understand.
Because there are term expirations. And I believe that the nominee that I have placed on the agenda is a better fit to serve the planning commission. As far as attending planning school, there are plenty of opportunities to attend planning commissioner trainings.
Okay.
There's one coming up in October, provided by the American Planning Association in San Diego. And these are budgeted items, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Burkey, that would have been available for any planning commissioner that wishes to attend a planning commissioner training session. Because there are term expirations, Mr. Alman's term expired just on June 30th. And
So he was holding a temporary position then?
he was appointed by the mayor prior to the ordinance that we changed to complete the term for Mr. David Linux, I believe.
Actually, it was your appointee that you agreed to.
No, the mayor appointed all the facility planning
We didn't do the
commissioners.
change till after that.
We changed the ordinance after that appointment. That was your appointment as the mayor at the time. Yes, I did agree because I feel like I need to support a council's decision to your appointee.
Right.
Well, here's my problem. These planning commissioners don't just vote on things in your district. They vote on things for our entire city. And I've reviewed these applications, and the person that you want to appoint never even completed high school. The person that you're trying to remove has. The person you're trying to approve didn't even take the time to fill out references on their application, while the person that we have in place has. So when I'm looking at the quality of work here, being able to maneuver through the technicalities of the planning commission, I don't see how, you have to explain to me why you think this person will best represent the city of Palmdale.
I can explain that. I've known Mr. Rivera for quite some time. I've also known Mr. Alemani since I worked in the city of Palmdale since 2005. As a planning technician, that's how I met Mr. Alemani because he has a sign company.
Okay.
So I've known Mr. Alemani since 2005 as a city employee.
Was he, Alameda was a city employee?
No, as
Oh,
a
you were,
city employee.
you were,
Myself,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
The relationship that I've had throughout my election at the school district and at the city council now.
Uh-huh.
I do feel that Mr. Rivera is a better fit to the planning commission. To me, not having a high school diploma doesn't mean that a person is not successful in life. Myself, I'm the oldest of 8. I have a college education, I have a master's degree. I have 2 brothers who decided not to complete their high school, and they are very good business owners. Having a high school degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a doctorate, doesn't necessarily mean that that qualifies them to hold a position. I think that is degrading that you point out that there is no high school diploma for
I don't believe, I disagree.
It's not a requirement.
I disagree. I'm a college instructor, I sit on a school board, I value education. I think
So do
we
I.
need to make sure that we have the most qualified people in these positions. So you'll have to tell me how your candidate out-qualifies the other people. And you're comparing him just to the one candidate. We have another candidate, a Debbie Dino, that would like to apply too.
She did apply.
And I wonder why you picked the one you did, because
You get a different list than I got? Because I don't have any of that.
I'm looking at their applications right now. I mean, we've got blank
You got
pages
something different than I got.
on an application for a person
Well,
who
you should have
wants
got
to
your
sit
applications.
on a
Did
planning
everybody on the
commission.
council get their applications?
Yes, they were distributed as required to all the
Okay.
council members.
And I've read it,
They're
and
not
I've
on the
got
agenda. They came as a
pages and
separate-
pages of blank,
They're confidential.
nothing filled out on this form. How can you say someone who is not properly able to fill out a form is a better fit on our planning commission to represent the city of Palmdale than somebody who's doing the job? I'm confused.
I think it's based on relationships.
It shouldn't be
Based on-
personal friends, it shouldn't be personal
I didn't
relationships.
say personal friends.
Then
I
what
said
is it?
Professional relationships.
Well,
We have
it-
a professional relationship here.
Well, this politicizes, my opinion, this is politicizing the planning
Thanks.
commission, which we've never done. And now we're about to do that.
Well, you know, when I decided to run for the council,
That's been going on for
I,
years, Mayor.
You can pass this down.
I
This
agree.
is a blank form. The pages and pages not filled out on the application for somebody who
No,
wants
I
to
got
represent
that.
our city on the planning commission.
okay, so let me explain even further to what my decision was. When I decided to run for council in 2016, it was a difficult decision for me to do that. However, there were some events that happened at the council at the time that I did not agree with. One of them was when the mayor's appointments to the planning commission had to be done through the mayor. The mayor is the only one prior to the council, this council, adopting a resolution where now each individual council member has the right to make an appointment. If you recall, in March of 2016, Mr. Inex represented the west side of Palmdale. On April of 2016, suddenly he represented the east side of Palmdale. I know that because when I found out, I sent a request to the city clerk asking for the application from Mr. Inex to represent the east side. You are concerned with an application that is not completely filled out. When I made that request on March of 2016, the city attorney's office sent me the application from Mr. Inex from 2012 or 2013. Mr. Inex was moved from the west side to the east side from March 2016 to April of 2016 without an application. I did not agree with that. And that is something that we fought for during the election. We made sure that we wanted to have an appointees to the planning commission, and you are correct, Mr. Rivera or Mr. Aleman do not make decisions only for District 4, as all the other planning commissioners.
Right, exactly.
They all make decisions
That's why
for
we
the
need
city
to
of
have
Palmdale.
the best person there. We can't jeopardize the
I'm
production of
telling you what
Palmdale
the
to spite
reason
the
was.
mayor because you didn't like this appointment last time. That's what it looks like.
It's not that I didn't like this appointment. Again, I knew Mr. Aleman since 2005. I had a professional relationship with him. Remember that we all fought to have the right to appoint somebody at the planning commission. That is my right.
It is.
You don't have to
but
agree.
You're right, but I do have to voice my opposition to having the
That's what this
least
is.
qualified person out of a group of applicants because you're angry with the way it went before. You've got to put what happened before. We can't go back and change what happened. But we
Did
can
you
move
agree with the
forward.
way it happened before?
We can move forward as professionals
making the best decisions for the entire city of Palmdale, and I don't think that's the best decision.
That is my appointee.
Well,
Well, I've made my
I agree with
be clear, so.
Ms. Bittencourt at this time. I think qualification message to our young people. It's not important. It's very important. So, yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're in a program for a GED at this time. And so maybe that's how we're going to overcome that. I would say that works. But I'm not sure that's what's
I
happening.
just hope we wouldn't get into the position of like grading these things to that degree, because there's.
What's the point of having applications if we're not going to review them?
Well, I think it's
You know,
good.
and as far as saying, that it's degrading to say that they don't have a high school diploma, I'm an educator, I value education. But, we also talk about promoting our immigrant community, and we currently have someone who's sitting on the planning commission that went to high school in El Salvador. So that promotes our minority community. And I'm looking at I'm weighing the applications that have come before me in a logical, unemotional position. And I just don't think that your candidate is the best selection.
I
That's just
respect your
my
opinion.
professional opinion.
I respect it.
It doesn't matter.
I know, but I just wanted to say that I think our city deserves better.
Well, I'm in the same boat. But who else? Anybody else?
No, there's blanks on all of them, so I never put myself in a position of circling blank spots, so.
I'm not talking spots. You saw the application, there's pages
Yeah.
blank.
Yep, well,
How do you apply for a job
Without
and leave
filling it
pages
out.
blank?
And is that the new norm?
And no references? I mean, sorry, I'm confused. I see the world in a different way.
I'm with you. Did we ever allow the public to speak on this?
Oh, sorry.
I think we did, but
Did we? I don't know.
no.
You did call for
No?
public comment.
Did we?
I got to do it. Public, anybody from the public? All right, we don't. Okay, council, what are we going to do? We obviously have a disagreement, but there's a process.
I want to speak.
You do?
Yeah, you missed me.
We're going to have a new podium for you at our new council chamber. Sorry.
Thank you. I just never heard this before. I have a good education. I own a PhD in engineering. I've never heard of anybody just putting blank on their applications. You can't get a perspective of that person if you don't know anything about it. And obviously, I haven't seen this application, but I did see it get passed, and there's some blank spots. You're not going to get a job out there with that. The guy could be really qualified, but it doesn't appear to be. I don't see you have to have a high school education. There's a lot of men out there that are very brilliant that they can't even tie their shoes. But when it comes to looking for a job and making everybody in the council agree upon that person and the taxpayers, come on, we need more than blank pages. I don't think the guy's trying to hide anything. It sounds to me like he just threw his application in at the last minute. And I wish we had some answers here. If the gentleman was here, maybe he could enlighten us.
He's a player.
Pardon?
He's a player.
Okay. He's a player. I just can't go for this. It's a very important job. Our future hangs on people that are in that end of our city, making decisions about what our city's going to look like, what kind of businesses we're going to bring in. It's very, very important, and it's not a friendship thing. It needs thinking people in that position. Thanks.
Anybody else? All right. Let's go back to the city council. What are we doing? We got a motion?
I make a motion for this point.
Okay, and I'm gonna second it. We gotta put a process in place here. And I'm gonna respect the gentleman's nomination.
Well, I would say the process is broken, and I think there is minimal requirements that we should be insisting upon. Doesn't speak anything to the character of the individual. I'm just saying, what's the message to our kids out there? We're involved in school districts, charter schools, trying to ask for, kids, there's an opportunity to excel in life if you do these things. And when we don't insist on those as part of our appointment process, I think it cheapens the effort. And I think it shows young people that maybe it's not that important. And it's very important. So I would say I have an issue with the lack of qualification. I think the other side of this issue is we are entering a new era of politicized appointments, because this is exactly what this is. And the prior person, we just got them trained up, and now we're going to let them go. That is a waste of our resources here at the City of Palmdale. Planning Commission, you're beholden to the general plan, not to an individual council person. And I can tell you, in my years as mayor, I have never approached a planning commissioner on how to vote. Never. It's not what this process is about. This is about thinking as an individual, doing what's in the best interest, in your opinion, and in the collective of 5, we make a decision to move forward. I think this is a dangerous step we're taking. I know this was something we talked about. It sounds apple pie, but it really is not good government.
I think it's just, we're overlooking, the gentleman has actually a pretty decent resume that he attached to this. So I think that gets marginalized as well. But I think that, like you said, 5 of us made a decision, and if we want to put more criteria on this stuff in the future, I think that's a great topic we should probably discuss. But that's not what's before us tonight.
So we're going to minimal criteria. That's what drives our decision. All right, we do have a motion in a second. We can sit and keep this up. Why don't we do a voice vote, please?
Mayor Ledford?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer?
Yes.
Bettencourt?
No.
Bishop?
Yes.
We have 3 yeses, 2 noes, Mayor Ledford and Councilmember Bettencourt.
Okay,
So it passes.
it passes. Let's go to 9.5. It's a council appointment of councilman to serve on the Antelope Valley Transit Authority to fill a vacant delegate position. Our Councilman Bishop has tendered his resignation, so now we are looking to fill that position.
Laura, did you find that was going to be able to work out?
I will not be able to do that position
Oh, okay.
unless they change it to 5 o'clock at night.
Maybe they change it to Fridays, something that we should consider. I mean, we're the ones that have to serve on those boards. I know it's not a one-member call, but we could talk to the board and see if they can accommodate other times and days.
Okay. Well, any one of us can act as
I'm an alternate.
as an alternate to that, so.
Maybe
Go back and,
Then we have 2 alternates actually, right? Myself and I believe you have an alternate too. So maybe that's something that we could do in a.
What are the ramifications of none of us taking this appointment?
I'm not going to take that appointment. You've got a toxic environment over there that hasn't changed recently, and it's not good.
I disagree, but we're going to disagree on that.
And this has to be a council person that we appoint to that position?
Yeah, it's the way the bylaws are set up.
Okay, I wasn't sure what the bylaws were.
But could a citizen serve as an alternate?
I think we have to take a look. Maybe we just table this item, and we can review the bylaws on that. And in the meantime, we can talk to the rest of the board and see what else we can do on that, okay?
There is a point on the bylaws. The bylaws do allow the authority, it says the authority shall be governed by a board of 6, by a board of directors The board should be composed of 6 designated directors and 3 alternate directors, except as provided in subparagraph 3. Oh, wait a minute, I lost the spot.
It's right here. Each city.
Yeah. Each city shall appoint 2 designated directors and from their respective city council members and 1 alternate director who is not required to be a city council.
Okay, so
But-
why don't we look at that and we can table it until next month and we'll come up with a solution. Meantime, we'll talk to the other board, see what the other options are, and see where else we,
And again, we already have two alternates there, so I may be able to attend.
maybe you guys can trade off on it or something. So, okay,
Well, my statement was a toxic environment, and I'm going to just give one name. His name is Randy Floyd. And Randy Floyd used to be the executive director. That was run out of his job with his big allegations and big hoopla, going to jail, big investigation.
none of us were there then.
Well, it doesn't matter. It happened. And the fact is, some of you are still there. And the fact is,
I wasn't there. You and Mike were there.
I didn't say you were there.
Oh,
I said
so some of
others
you.
are there
Okay.
still that were behind that move. They have not been held accountable for that kind of dirty action to replace an executive director. And now, so I would tell you that's a very toxic environment over there. They're capable and willing to do anything and have shown that in the past. I have no interest in being a part of that group.
Yeah, I know, you quit, so we got it. I get it.
So can we table it, and in the
Yeah, that's-
meantime, we have the alternates that could potentially
Yep,
serve, and then we
so-
go to the board?
Yep, that'll be my motion.
Okay.
Table it for,
I second that motion.
Don't you want to know who I'm referring to?
well, you're gonna tell us anyhow.
Well, yeah, I am. That would be Norm Hinckley and Marvin Chris behind that brilliant move. It's a sad day in our valley. Sad day in the valley, and they got away with it. And it seems to be okay with you guys.
No, you were the guy there. Why didn't you do something about it?
I did?
You quit.
No? I raised hell.
All right. Well, anyways, trying to move this thing forward, so.
All right, I've said my piece. We're going to table that, and we'll come back to it later. Next meeting? All right, item 10, let's do public hearings. This is a review of proposed resolution for adoption. We're done with the public hearing, Mr. Brown. Public comments for your housing, that's all we have left. You're welcome to stay.
Thank you.
All right. All right, let's go now to item 10, public hearings. This is CC 2018-023. Mr. Hepburn.
Mayor Ledford, members of the City Council, item 10.1 is the resolution approving engineer's report supporting the levy of assessments within the city's park maintenance district for fiscal year 18-19. It's staff recommendation that the public hearing be opened and resolution CC 2018-023 be approved. I guess I should read the resolution at this time. Resolution CC 2018-023 reads, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palmdale approving the engineer's report and the continuation of the levy and collection of assessments within the City of Palmdale Park Maintenance and Recreation Improvement District for fiscal year 2018-2019. I'd also like to, if we have questions, I'd also like to introduce our district engineer, Mr. John Bliss, who's down here from San Francisco, works for SEI, and he's been the district engineer or the assessment engineer for the districts and for about the last 10 years, I believe. So there's a lot of history with it.
Is he doing all, did he do all of these?
Yes.
All right. Any questions from the council?
I just want to know that, I know that Mr. Pertee and Mr. Heffernan were looking at some audits of these over the years, and the difference between the engineering report versus the audits. Are we moving forward with those so we can get a better perspective of what's really happening here? Because on several of these different districts.
Yes.
A couple of which are here tonight, there's been some concerns that have been brought up.
Right.
Need to be better addressed. So.
Yes, we are, and we've got a program in place. We are moving forward with, part of the program is within the budget, and we approved the budget tonight, you approved the budget tonight. There are additional employees in there to make sure that we are holding the contractors accountable, not just in this item, not just in the parks, but in the LMDs, and they have the tools that they need now with the iPads. Whenever they go to the district, they will be holding the contractor accountable. We're out to bid on a contract now. That contract has additional teeth built into it that previous ones did not. So we will be able to assess them if the people in parks maintenance go out and they can tell that somebody didn't do what they were supposed to do. They didn't visit, they didn't sweep leaves, and you got leaves, they'll be able to assess them, whatever the weekly rate is for that location.
And
$150.
I appreciate that because, well, coincidentally, at our transit authority, we have metrics that have never been in place before that we used to evaluate the buses and the operators and the contractors' performance. And that's something that's been, I don't think been well applied with some of these contracts in the past. But I think also there's also the question of within those programs, within these different assessment districts, the work and the benefit that each of these different areas, how that's been working out. I just want to make sure that we're continuing to take a close look at that.
Yes, absolutely. And we
I
just met
appreciate that.
tonight, and
More than we've gotten in the last 10 years.
yeah, we just met tonight, and we've got a program. We're going to be coming back with. I mean, we talked about it at the last meeting about having an actual workshop, and there wasn't enough time between that time and now, and we're collecting additional information. But that workshop, we're looking at probably, depending on the timing, having it sometime between maybe August, September timeframe, if we could fit it in.
So I thought it was going to be on the June 14th. Is that a
Well, that,
workshop?
I'm sorry to interrupt, Jim. The 14th is a workshop for the parks, really related to talking to the assessment attorney, and I think they're going to go through it. Karen may be able to shed a little more light on that, but that's what that is.
Right. The 14th is our financial advisor that's going to come in and talk about bonds, how those operate, how they're funded, how assessments play into that, where the cash flow comes from to make bond assessment payments. Essentially a whole primer on how bonds work. And so whether it's for parks or for landscape, anything that we've issued bonds for, we've used the same financial advisor, and so she'll be an excellent person to come in and walk the city council and staff through the entire process so everybody's on the same page and understands how these things work.
And with that, on this particular item, on the last council meeting, I expressed my concerns with the way that this was handled, and I voted no at that time. I still have concerns. I've still been doing some research on my own on the CAFRs. I do have some concerns, and I kind of raised those briefly with the city manager earlier today. I know that those can be very confusing, but based on what I have read on the CAFRs, it seems to me that I need better explanation. And I guess that's the point of having the June 14 workshop, so that I can be educated on how this has worked, because to me, it seems like the wrong approach has been done with this park maintenance bond, the ballot measure that passed in 2002. There are maps that are mentioned on the CAFR that are specific to an area, and that map only has Gorson Connection or Gorson Park, which has been closed for 8-9 years now. It also mentions city facilities, city hall, this very building, development services, and the library. Because those documents reference that map where these facilities are, I need to make sure that I fully understand how that money is being proportional or distributed. Because my understanding of the ballot was to build parks and do the maintenance of the parks. I know they cost a lot of money. There was a bond for like $42 million. The city's collected $32 million so far. 2.5 million are collected every year, and the increase has been based on the CIP. So I need really to be educated on how this has worked, particularly this ballot measure from 2002. For that reason, I'm still going to vote no on this item. I understand the importance of having this item passed so that the assessment can be collected and be put to work as the voters wanted it to be in 2002. And once I get that workshop on June 14, hopefully I will be able to understand it better, and then I will be able to do a more educated decision.
And make sure that I would just like to also just kind of dovetail in on that. I need to get, I myself also need to get a better perspective, because we got a couple of zones, like we got a zone all the way out on the east side, east of 50th or 90th. We got this zone on the far southwest side. It's another zone over there, and it even speaks about a higher assessment rate. Right. I don't think anything's ever been built in that zone, you know. Right. So, you know, I get it that sometimes we got to move some money around, as within all of these assessment districts. That's why I'm very interested in seeing some of that additional material and some of that audit. So, thank you.
So we'll have our financial advisor cover in detail certainly the park bond and how that structure works, how the assessments move through the system into and become bond payments, and then the collateral that needs to be put up even though there's a cash flow in order to issue bonds and make them attractive to investors. And so all of those things will be covered. We'll make sure that you get the information you need so you can get a complete picture, because it's not unnecessarily complex, but it's regulatory complex because the way state law works as far as municipalities being able to issue bonds creates a really complex environment for the whole machinations of how it works.
Okay. All right. Why don't we open it up for public hearing? Anybody wish to testify? You may come forward, give us your name. All right, seeing none.
Move to close public hearing.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. All right, any other questions?
Move to adopt resolution number CC 2018-025.
Second.
Got a motion, we have a second. Further discussion? Seeing none. How about a voice vote, please?
Mayor Ledford?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo?
No.
Councilmember Hoffbauer?
Yes.
Bettencourt?
Yes.
Bishop?
Yes.
We have 4 yes, 1 no.
Very good. Let's go to item 10.2.
Mayor Ledford, members of the City Council, before you tonight is a resolution approving the engineer's report and supporting levy of the assessments and continuation levy for city's landscape maintenance assessment districts and annexations for fiscal year 18-19. The staff's recommendation that the public hearing be open and that resolution number CC 2018-024 be approved. The resolution 2018-024 reads, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palmdale approving the engineer's report and continuation of the levy and collection of assessments within the City of Palmdale's landscape maintenance assessment district and annexations for fiscal year 2018-2019.
Okay, questions?
Yep, so same question, we got an audit going on that?
Yes, and if I may, and I think since we have John here, this might be an opportunity if you'd like to have him come up. I know this with the landscape assessment districts, we have 248 districts, and we are in the process of auditing these, and we are going through and allocating the fund balance that exists. This is a problem that a lot of cities are dealing with, and I'd like John to come up and reassure you that this is a process that a lot of cities are going through, and that we are on the right track, and that we are doing something that that is right. And John, if you could come up and maybe.
So just John, just so you know where when the issue comes up, I can be happy to forward you the pictures, but I've got people that show me pictures of LMDs where we've got, I'm asked, tell me which LMD was voted in, which one was voted out. And in a lot of cases, you can't tell the difference. And I have people that have had landscaping removed and their assessments were raised. The water's been cut back. We're told 70% of the cost was water. There's less stuff to maintain, less water being used, and the assessments have gone up. So this is something that I'm continually getting badgered by neighbors over. They just can't get their arms around this. I appreciate Public Works going through and working on the entrances to some of these. But in all honesty, the entrance to many of these tracks is maybe 10% of what the LMD is. And it looks nice as you come in, but as you drive around the block, go down the back road and stuff like that, some of them are really poor. I mean, I literally stood out there and picked up coyote bush and showed contractors, look at, here's the rest of the other material is hiding under here because you're not working on it. You got to take care of it. So it just, it's a very sensitive topic for people.
Great. Good evening. My name is John Bliss. I'm president of SCI Consulting Group. We're based up in Solano County, and I am here representing our firm. My colleague Maria Garcia Darve is the project manager that has been here. I had the pleasure of meeting with staff this afternoon and deal with the issues. And the two issues that I see and I'm hearing from you all are actually on 10.1, the parks assessment, and 10.2, landscaping and lighting. And Prop 218 has been an onerous, difficult to understand mechanism used up and down the state. However, there is a path forward, and I'm happy to report to you that I like what I saw from staff this afternoon, particularly on this one with 240 different districts. Staff has developed the world's widest spreadsheet. That's 240 columns wide. That's how you have to do it. It's actually, it's a template we provided from the city of Vacaville, which has about 40. You have more than anyone in the state. Prop 218 is imperfect, but the fundamentals are sound. And that some of the fundamentals are this group of parcels is paying a certain amount to do improvements in this particular area. And so the city is on the right track to identifying budgets for each of those, and then we will evaluate them, and we'll have some difficult answers in some cases, and we'll get that, and we'll develop with the city a path forward. Many cities up and down the state are having this because as these assessments were set forward, frankly, many, and I'm part of this group of civil engineers that set them up, they weren't set up properly and they weren't set up for the long term. You have some nice things like you have a CPI. Lots of our clients can't even increase the amount. So I would say that you're in good shape in terms of that. I did want to make a clarification. The June 14th meeting, as I understand it, is focusing on the bonding aspect of it. That's one half of the formula. The other half of the formula is more the detail, the assessment, the collection. And I've been talking to Chuck, and I believe he, and I don't want to overstate it, but he's looking to have a separate workshop with you all if you're interested to do that happen. We're happy to attend and roll up our sleeves and talk to you about what's going on and how we can come up with a path forward. So that's kind of my overview. We understand the issue. The Prop 218 law is dynamic. More detail is good. It's good politically. It's good to deal with what you're doing. And I'm happy to report to you that city staff is developing budgets for each district as well as each park. So the other issue you said earlier is, hey, is this park, we're collecting this money, is it being distributed equally? Or properly, I should say. And so that's a big question that we need to provide you an answer to. And then for each of the districts in the landscaping, how much are we collecting and what services are we providing?
Outstanding.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Well, I know Chuck's been looking at this, and it's been, I know it's arduous, but I got to tell you, just the fact that you guys have been looking at it, a lot of these guys have stepped up their game. I have not seen some of these trucks spend more time in these areas and go out and talk to the neighbors that have raised issues and called in problems. And I've had neighbors come back and tell me, I never even knew who these guys were. Who's this guy coming to my door? I said, it's a landscape guy, talk to him. So
yeah, and I would say to your point earlier about picking up the coyote bush, and that's really not something that John can help with or Damon in the office, but Jim Cooksey and his team have really done a great job. And not just, they really want to make this thing so much better. And I think they feel like we're there to support them. And we're going to, as far as the new contract, we're going to give them the tools to be able to say, look, you're not doing your work. And we're going to
Direction to him, and he's given direction there, and that's trickled down. And like to talk about the snowball rolling down the hill. So I think some of the guys are starting to get the message, and I think it's the support coming from the top side here down to your desk, and then from your desk out. And holding these guys to a measurable outcome is the key, because you haven't had the ability to do that before. You haven't had the staff, and you haven't had the support. And I appreciate that you're looking at that. So
I did stop my rental car and pick up some coyote bush and put it in the trunk on today. I don't know if it's earned my
sitting on
heat
top
yet.
of my damn fire campus.
Go ahead, sorry. I still wanted to go, but I have a question. In your experience, have you seen cities where they have this similar issue where there is a citywide map that shows 3 different areas where the tax allocation gets collected? For instance, on Zone A, in this year, there were $2.5 million collected, which is this right here. And then Zone B and C, for the portions of the city, barely any money was collected. But we've seen a lot of development on Area C, which is Anaverdi, and the residents there don't pay as much as Zone A.
I think actually,
Well,
they
based
found
on what I'm
on
looking
that,
at.
but they also have Belarus, that's why the parks are.
Right, different mechanisms.
Right.
So the question is, this ballot that was approved in 2002 by the voters, it's going to expire in 2032, 14 years ago. Is there a possibility that this can be amended to a ballot so that every resident pays an equal amount to this maintenance tax? Because again, if you look at, you must be familiar with this map. Zone A is where most of the money is being collected, but Zone C, only $100,000 were collected. If the money that is collected is citywide, it gets dispersed or whatever is needed for park maintenance and park facilities. But to me, it just seems unfair that some portions of the city get assessed or pay less.
Yeah.
So what would be the solution in this case?
So the solution is, and it's an excellent question, and it speaks to the service and the engineering that we should be providing. And so clearly that we need to communicate that better. The zones are set up, and we're required by the law to provide analysis so the revenue collected in that zone is equal to the special benefit those parcels receive from the facility. So if you had 3 zones and you had 3 parks and the people in each zone only went to their park, then we could see how much does it cost to pay for that park, and it's distributed amongst that zone. The problem is that it's far more complicated than that, because 1, there's other funding sources, and 2, people travel in different places. And when we set this up, the aquatic center, the swim center, is a citywide facility. And so everyone ought to be paying a portion of that. And arguably, if you live closer to it, you benefit a little bit more from it. So there's these types of factors.
So we paid to go into that water park.
In addition, that's right, but that's exactly right. So there's also a fee, so that's another funding mechanism. So I would say that we look forward to the opportunity to sit down with you and dissect that with you to make sure that that's happening. But the intent is the amount charged should be commensurate with the benefit received. So your question is, hey, let's just charge everyone the same. That sounds fair. Prop 218 doesn't really allow us to do that. Okay. It really says, how much are these parcels benefiting from this particular facility, and that's how much they're assessed. And we're always looking at that and making sure that is accurate. The other weird dimension to this is the analysis was done in 2002, and I think Zone C was added in 2006. If my memory is correct on that. We make the analysis at the time, and it may be a fundamental flaw in how we fund things here in California. We make that analysis at the time, and we ballot the voters based on that analysis at the time. things change, but it is difficult with our system to make adjustments after we froze it. So when we do taxes, assessments, or fees in California, we set them, we approve them, and then we don't have a lot, like other states have more latitude to adjust them over time. So that's one of the things that hampers us. But we still need to look, it still needs to continue to be consistent with Prop 218. And so we'll work with you on that and clarify that. That's an excellent question.
So I thought I was reading something wrong here, but actually, it's Zone A and Zone C, the central and the west side, that's paying twice as much per parcel as Zone C. It has to do with the developed parcels. No, I see it. I'm reading the same thing as you. But if there is a Zone B on that far east side, it has to do with developed properties.
Right, yeah, I understand
Right.
that mechanism.
Right. So, but your rate for Zone A, central area, and Zone C, the far west side and Anna Verde, the rate is double what it is on the east side. So.
Correct. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
and as those houses get built, those numbers will.
A lot of that was based on proximity.
Right.
That side is further from the facilities, and so those parcels receive less benefit.
Not anymore.
And the rate is.
Not anymore.
B is out to the far east.
Take a look how many parks are right off of 50.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll take a look at that.
Yep.
So again, as long as we're able to understand that,
Yeah.
as long as I am able to understand it,
Absolutely.
I get what you're saying, it's X dollars total, but you know what? If there's nobody living there, there's no benefit.
Absolutely, I
Yeah.
understand.
All right. Any other questions by the council? Let's go ahead and open the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak to this item, you merely come forward, give us your name for the record, please.
Will we close public hearing?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered.
Would approve the item? Second.
Got a motion second. Any other questions?
I just want to
discussion?
commend staff for doing all this work. I know that the map that we were shown today during the briefing
That was good.
must have taken a lot of time and a lot of effort to put that together. I know there's a lot more work to be done. So I just want to tell staff I appreciate everybody.
I'll pass that along, there's a lot of people behind the scenes.
Yeah, that was really, really interesting to see how all those different districts, it was quite shocking, actually.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to item 10.3. Go ahead.
Mayor, there wasn't a vote taken on that item?
Need a vote.
Voice vote?
Half hour wait.
Voice vote.
Aye.
Okay, Mayor Ledford?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer, said aye. Betancourt?
Yes.
Bishop?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
All right. 10.3. This has to do with
Mayor Ledford, members of the City Council, again for you is a resolution approving the engineer's report that will levy assessments within the city's streetlight maintenance assessment districts for fiscal year 2018-2019. It is recommended that the public hearing be opened and that resolution number CC 2018-025 be approved. The resolution reads, "A resolution of the City Council of the City of Palmdale approving the engineer's report and continuation of the levy and collection of assessments within the City of Palmdale streetlight maintenance assessment districts and annexations for fiscal year 2018-2019.
Very good. Any questions from the council at this time? All right, I'm going to open the public hearing. Anybody wish to speak to this item, you can come forward. Give us your name. Seeing none. How about a motion to close the public hearing?
Can we close public hearing?
Second.
Got a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. Questions? Motion to approve.
Second.
And a second. Any other discussion? How about a voice vote?
Mayor Ledford?
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer?
Yes.
Betancourt?
Yes.
Bishop?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
All right, that passes. Let's now go to item 10.4. Mr. Epperton.
Mayor Ledford, members of the City Council, Before you tonight is a resolution approving the engineer's report that will levy assessments within the city's drainage benefit assessment district for fiscal year 2018-2019. It is recommended by staff that the public hearing be opened and that resolution number CC 2018-026 be approved. Resolution 2016-020 2018-026, thank you. Reads, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palmdale approving the engineer's report and continuation of the levy and collection of assessments within the City of Palmdale Drainage Benefit Assessment District, number 1 and number 2006-02 for fiscal year 2018-2019.
Okay, the mayor had to step out briefly. So at this point, we need to open for public testimony. Anybody would wish to speak on this item? No? Motion to close the...
Move to close public.
Second.
Okay. Do we need a vote on that?
Voice vote.
Voice vote?
Aye.
Mayor Ledford, it's gone. Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo,
Aye.
Hoffbauer,
Aye.
Bettencourt,
Yes.
Bishop.
Yes.
It's unanimous with Mayor Ledford absent.
Any council discussion on this item?
Move to adopt resolution number 2018-026, right, Chuck?
Is there a second?
026?
Second.
2018-026.
Yes, sir.
Second.
Voice vote?
Mayor Ledford, Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo,
Yes. Aye.
Councilmember Hoffbauer,
Yes.
Bettencourt,
Yes.
Bishop.
Yes.
It's 4 yes, Mayor Ledford absent.
So next item, 10.5, and the mayor just came in time. Working on 10.5.
Trying to avoid that last one. 10.5, Mr. Heffernan.
Mayor Ledford and members of the City Council, before you is a resolution to update the sewer collection service charge and order the annual levy and collection of the sewer charge for fiscal year 2018-2019. It is recommended that resolution number CC 2018-027 be approved. The resolution reads, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palmdale updating the sewer collection service charge and ordering the continuation of the charge for operation and maintenance of the Palmdale sewer collection system for fiscal year 2018-2019.
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Heffernan at this time? Not seeing any. I'm going to open the public hearing. Anybody wish to speak? Merely come forward and give us your name for the record.
Move to close public hearing.
Second?
Got a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So ordered. Questions or motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
A motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion? Let's have a voice vote, please.
Mayor Ledford,
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo.
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer.
Yes.
Bettencourt,
Yes.
Bishop.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay. This now brings us to item 11, new business. We're going to have Ann Ambrose give us a report.
Mayor and members of the council, good evening. So the first item, item 11.1, is a resolution, resolution number CC 2018-36, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palmdale amending the city's classification and pay plan for general positions. So earlier this evening, as part of the budget, the council adopted a budget that includes our classification and pay plan. As a requirement under PERS, we have to have separate resolutions for each of the pay plans to adopt them. And that this needs also to be a new business item so that it's not something that we can adopt as part of the consent calendar. This particular item, you'll see that there are two classification plans. The first in this section reflecting any new positions that were added in the budget, reclassifications, title changes, and then the second one reflects the 2% cost of living adjustment that will be effective on July 9th. And I'm available for any questions that you have.
Right. Any questions from the council at this time? Let's go ahead and open We'll call for public comments. Anybody wish to make comment? Merely come forward and give us your name. Seeing none?
Second.
It's not a public hearing.
Oh, sorry, public
I
comments.
don't understand the difference here, guys.
Yeah, what is the difference?
New business.
Ah, got
New
it.
business.
New business?
That has the same effect as kind of.
Public hearing is required on public hearings.
Yeah, I understand.
New business
So
is
do we
the-
need to close public comments? Do we have to actually
No.
make a motion for that or not?
No.
No? See, I'm still learning.
A little fun fact for tonight.
One day I'll get it right.
All right, any questions from the council on this resolution or motion?
Motion to approve item 11.1.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, how about a voice vote?
Mayor Ledford?
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer?
Yes.
Bettencourt?
Yes.
Bishop?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Let's go to item 11.2.
Item 11.2 is resolution number CC 2018-37, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palmdale amending the city's classification and pay plan for bargaining unit positions. So I forgot to clarify on the first one. The first classification and pay plan is for the unrepresented employees. The second pay plan is for the bargaining unit positions. This group again has two pay plans, one that reflects any title classification changes, and then the second reflecting the 2% cost of living increase effective July.
All right. Any questions? All right, how about public comment? Anybody wish to make public comment? Merely come forward and give us your name for the record. Seeing none? Staff, motion or question?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? How about a voice vote, please?
Mayor Ledford?
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer?
Yes.
Bettencourt?
Yes.
Bishop?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Let's go to item 11.3.
Item 11.3 is resolution number CC-2018-38, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palmdale amending the city's classification and pay plan for Y-rated positions. Again, this is the third component of our classification and pay plan. We have two positions that are Y-rated positions. These were positions that when we did the compensation study, their current wages were above what the market wages were. Make sure I didn't have that backwards. And so their salaries their salaries, they can earn up to the F step, and then they're frozen within the range until the market catches up to where their salaries are. And so there are two classifications that currently are in that mix. This is only one classification plan that reflects the current classifications.
All right, any questions from the council? Any comments from the public? Anybody wish to speak, just come forward and give us your name. Seeing none?
Move to approve the item.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? How about a voice vote?
Mayor Ledford?
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer?
Yes.
Bettencourt?
Yes.
Bishop?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Let's go to 11.4. This is the third amendment to the employment agreement between the City of Palmdale and James Pertee, our city manager.
Yes, Mayor Ledford, at the April City Council meeting in closed session, Council reviewed Mr. Pertee and unanimously requested that the city attorney bring back two changes to the employment agreement with Mr. Pertee and the city. The first one was extending the employment agreement for 3 additional years to October 5th, 2021. And the second one was to authorize Mr. Pertee to attend 2 sessions at the Harvard, I gotta get this right, Harvard Kennedy School Executive Education Program. And that would include travel, tuition, lodging, etc. Staff recommends approval of the 2 contract changes and is available for any questions.
All right, any questions from the council?
Yeah, I do. On the second item, I thought that you indicated you were not going to do that anymore. Did I miss?
What, I think what I indicated was that I had the one item in the contract I'd already accomplished. And so based on the input from the council, wanting me to have additional professional development, I added a new item that would allow me to go again. So the one was expired.
I see.
This is adding new for the next contract.
I agree with that professional will help the city, but I just was under the impression that it was not part of the renewal. But I'm okay with it. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, I think it was just kind of unclear.
Yeah, it wasn't clear.
Okay.
Anybody else on the council have questions? All right, I'm going to ask for public comments. Anybody from the public wish to make comment? All right, back to the city council. Questions or motion?
Move to approve.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. I'm going to say just prior to my vote, I think our Jim Pertee does a fabulous job for our city. And he's very professional. He is, I think, working to satisfy the council's direction in lots of ways. And I think his first 3 years have been incredibly successful. You've been very helpful to the city. And I think you've gotten us in a much better position financially. And now we're able to bring on people and provide more service. And at the same time, I think you're grappling with some of the issues, the dynamic of the council as a whole. We have a diversity there, but you're working through it. So I commend you for that. And I think, again, our city is a better city because you're here.
Yeah, I think Joe's done a good job managing and playing with all the challenges we have here, given the atmosphere of a new council and everything that changes. He's responded. One of my biggest issues was communication, which has gotten better over time. Yesterday, you did really good with the communication with regards to the stone fire, right? So I felt like the communication on that was really good. I'd like to see more communication like that when we have emergencies in town and stuff like that. I know it's difficult as things happen, but the communication with the council is critical, and I know you've been working on that. Thank you.
I appreciate you brought in, and in some cases brought back some talent that we've been sorely missing. And I think some of the additions in some of these offices has been outstanding, and it's allowing the other staff to do their jobs better. So, and I think that's real. I think that's very positive.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to say that I think you've adjusted to the new council.
We're tough.
Tough it is.
Much in the same way it
I realize that.
just.
Yeah. So that does take a lot of courage and a lot of knowledge, and challenges will continue to be here. I'm confident that you will continue to move the direction that the council is doing.
And perhaps eventually we won't make you work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
That's the job.
All right, I think we're ready for a voice vote.
Mayor Ledford?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffbauer?
Yes.
Bettencourt?
Yes.
Bishop? It's unanimous.
Very good. All right. We're now at item 12, non-agendized public comments. Anybody wish to address the council on any issue, merely come forward and give us your name.
All agendas too.
What? All the agencies, yes. Do I need to call them out?
Basically, anything you want to talk about.
Oh, adjourn. Oh, yes, sir.
Good evening, I guess. Mayor Ledford, Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo, council members. My name is Oscar Sevilla. I'm the Director of Project Management for Palmdale Construction. We were awarded the LED conversion program back in May 1st. I'm here to represent the company and notify you guys that we are soliciting employment for the city to fulfill the commitments to hire people here to the city. We have already did interviews last week with the Manzanita Cultural Center, and we've done everything we possibly can to fulfill that commitment.
How'd they do for you?
I got 60 interviews in one day.
Wow.
There were a lot of good candidates, so we're going to do second round interviews for a few of them, and hopefully we'll get a couple of them.
How many are you hiring?
I want to hire at least 5. We have 10 positions.
So 60 qualified applicants, and you're gonna whittle it down to 5. And I tell people, there's jobs to be had, and there's a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Sharpen up your game.
Yeah, there is, and a lot of qualified candidates. It's just we have to meet a certain criteria for the state too, so make sure we meet OSHA standards and California standards as well. So.
Job Center is a very good resource for this community. If you're in business and you're not using them, you're missing out. Good point. Thanks. Anybody else wish to speak?
Here it comes. Thank you. You almost got it. You did.
Oh. It's a race.
Eric Sievers again. I've been noticing that we have a problem rising in our city here on rents. The rents in our apartment houses and housing and our commercial buildings are just escalating like a rocket ship going off. Is there anybody have any suggestions on how we can control this? I don't mean rent control, but to keep it, down to a minimum. And as it is, we're not gonna have too many people that can afford to live in Palmdale.
You would think that the housing market itself is pretty flat.
Yeah.
You would think with more product out there, you would get maybe more opportunities for, rents are going up, I think, because there is no inventory. Housing prices are going up because the inventory is very tight. So we need more.
We're still waiting for the market to respond to the last crash. It's kind of slow when it comes all the way out here. We just need to get the back end of it.
These guys can't get a lot of money, it's difficult. How many people did we have to put together to cobble together that, was it like 23 different agencies to make Croissant work?
Of course, on seven different layers of financing.
Right, but there were like 20-something people involved with that thing?
By the time you had all the consultants and everything, yeah.
And the other issue is, we're down, right now, I think 31 million a year from what we had before the state killing redevelopment. Think about that, $31 million, 20% of that was affordable housing set aside. That is a lot of money that's not available for the cities to be pitching in for affordable, for low, very low, and extremely low housing. So now, where's the money? The state doesn't have a surplus, the state has your money.
It's apparent that this is gonna turn around and bite us.
It's biting us right now.
It already is.
Yeah.
That's
$1,500
that's why all these guys are working on the homeless problem.
$2,000 for a 2-bedroom. Heaven forbid you got a 3-bedroom apartment. People can't afford that.
Right.
We get
I
it.
understand you. You're right. Good point.
We're trying to bring more product up here. We're working with developers right now.
I'll go with that.
All right, thank you. Yes, sir.
George Clifton. 50 years ago today, on 5 June 1968, United States Senator Robert Francis Kennedy was shot at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles, California. His wife, Ethel, pregnant with their 11th child, walked behind him as he was shot. The senator died the next day. He was only 42, and obviously, he never met his last child. I'm a very big advocate for undocumented immigrants, and I want for all of you to know 2 things regarding undocumented immigrants in this country. Number 1, the people who preside over the immigration cases of the undocumented are not judges. No, they are lawyers employed by the United States Department of Justice. How unfair. As many of you know, American boys between the ages of 18 through 25 have to register for the military draft. Do you know, though, that undocumented...
Nobody? All right, we're moving on. Go to item 13, informational reports. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first. I'll keep it brief because a lot of the stuff that we did, my other council members were there. We attended the 2018 Regional Conference and General Assembly Indian Wells, the SCAG conference, which was really beneficial. We learned about a lot of things that other cities are doing to improve the quality of life for their citizens and other ways they're using their budgeting to bring additional services. In addition, we were able to try to seek out some grant money as well. So that was a really good conference we attended. I went to Fire Service Day. Did a ribbon cutting for the electric charging stations in our transportation center, ABA QMD. Interesting one, if you buy a plug-in vehicle out here in the Yellow Valley, you get a $1,000 rebate from the ABA QMD. So any clean air car, hybrid electric, plug-in or just straight electric, if you purchase it in the Antelope Valley car dealer, not sure, I think maybe lease, but if you purchase it new out here, you're going to qualify for a $1,000 bonus or grant from the ABA QMD funded through LA County. So that's something else we have going on through the Air Quality Management District. I attended the workshop right here for public art. We're implementing a public art plan for the city that's going to change the way our city looks and kind of bring out that creative side of people. So stay tuned for that. We're still going to have a lot more public outreach and a lot more information that goes into forming that public art plan. I went to the Public Works Appreciation Luncheon. Thank all of our public works guys for doing all the hard work that makes our city look good and keeps it held together. Attended the Bravery Brewing, the Emory radio dedication. With the radio talking about, I think it was KMX, right? They're talking about KFI. They're talking about the renaming of Avenue N. Palmdale Water Recycle Authority, we're still trying to get everything together to get more purple pipe laid down, get our financing put in place, and get some recycled water out to parks. And I attended the Memorial Day Remembrance at Desert Lawn Memorial. I was very well attended. A lot of good people there. A lot of good respect to our veterans for respect and honors due. Very eventful month. I'll let my other council members dig into it. I'm sure they have a lot more. That's it.
So like Mr. Bishop said, I was at the SCAG Regional Council and General Assembly. Not much additional to add. There was, again, we're always finding little nuances to grant projects and things like this. So we're looking to try to keep Chuck in business with more money, and his traffic guys and everybody else trying to find you money, more money. Liability Trust Fund Board. Again, we're continuing to work towards finding some additional solutions within the Liability Trust Fund Board, and Mr. Bertie will probably expand upon the subcommittee that the city managers have as well, to try to find better investment options to try to offset that liability cost. Chimbole Highway, we finally got the balance of the funding. Managed to track down a couple of very large contributions from the league and from the Contract Cities Association. We got those checks. The checks cleared, so it was good. And so they're moving forward, and we've got the emails flew to get the city's okay on it. All of a sudden, Caltrans suddenly wanted our okay on something, so believe it or not. Fire Service Day was over there as well. Great time was had by all. We had our NCTC, North County Transportation meeting. We dissolved the old one, we formulated the new one, and the most exciting part about it was we approved the Measure M funding projects. And if memory serves me correct, we were the first agency to bring that forward. We're ready to go. Correct, Chuck, on that? I attended the MC3 class. It's the basically it's a pre-apprentice class for the guys that are going to be getting out soon up at Fenner Canyon Inmate Center. These guys, I'll tell you what, I've been to a lot of these different group graduation stuff like this. These guys are focused, they're committed, they want to get out, they don't want to be back. They like being on the fire camp, they don't want to come back to the fire camp, trust me. So and there's a lot of these guys are coming out and they're getting to work.
I didn't even know about that event. How do we get notification of those types of events?
It's out there.
Usually it comes to Terry in our office, usually comes with all the events.
Did you, okay, I guess I must have missed emails.
That, AQMD, like Mr. Bishop said, worked on the budget and we have got that money. $120,000 went out in grants, mostly for EV charging stations. A couple of them were here in Palmdale. I've been preaching to every agency and every business that I can to make these applications. Home to Suites is getting some, and there's going to be some going in over to Sierra Commons. So it's outstanding that we've got Sierra Commons. I think it's going to be about 31 grand over there and about 15 grand over Home to Suites.
And how many do we have here at the city?
What's that?
The charging stations?
I think we have 2.
So we have 2 public ones at the city hall?
Well, we've got them over there at Public Works, and then we've got them at Dry Town. We've got them at Marie Kerr. Are they over there? But there's quite a few of them, and we're getting them at the Transit Center. There's a bunch of them, because we were just at that ribbon cutting.
There's 6 of them.
And then we got a bunch of them over at the mall. And it's all grant money that's either paying for them or paying for a substantial part of them.
So Home to Suites is going to have some of those?
Yep.
So they can go on private properties?
Yep, absolutely. And the idea is that part of that is that they have to, we're helping them put them in, but they have to provide the, help provide the infrastructure and the power to them. They have to be able to provide either reduced or free charging for a period of time. But it's also, and it works out great for them because they're able to say, hey, when these teams come up here, they can get the electric vans and all that kind of stuff. They don't have to get that range anxiety issue. They can get in there and plug in.
That's our big challenge, is the infrastructure to keep this.
Yeah, and that's actually same number of chargers in both of those facilities, but the infrastructure was further to run it, and that's why the Sierra Commons one was more. So, contract cities, great topics on the homeless. Great meetings with Supervisors Barger and Hahn. Did all my annual trainings, catch up on those. Public safety issues was a huge topic as well. With all the extra cities there, they're trying to learn about the liability trust fund issues and things, and what we can do to help our sheriff's department do a better job and free up the deputies. Other topic is water. AVTA meeting, we had our AVTA meeting. We've got brought in the new CEO over there. Was at the Antelope Valley Hospital Board swearing in. They have, I think, four new board members there for their hospital corporation. It's important for that facility to succeed because if they're not succeeding, it puts unnecessary pressure on our hospital over here. Went to the Veterans Pinning ceremony over at the Ellison John facility. That was a moving ceremony. Let me tell you what. We had a couple of World War II vets there. It was amazing. The Arlie Ermy event with KFI, as they said. I attended another class for the for the Council Academy to the Sheriff's Department. This last one was the Tactics and Survival course. That was probably the most challenging and the one that'll get your adrenaline going real quick, put you into shooting simulators and things like that. So next time that comes available for any of you, you need to go. EV station ribbon cuttings, Memorial Day ceremony. I also attended the Medical Explorers program out at Kaiser. It was really great to see those young folks out there getting inspired to go into the medical field. I was with Mr. Pertee at a luncheon over at the sheriff's station. The A-Lads group was over there thanking us for, kind of pushing the issue with the Board of Supervisors and that we've got to solve these hiring problems. They're geared up to do 720 deputies a year. They need 900. There's something wrong with that math, so that's got to get fixed. I want to thank the Public Works guys for your patience in walking through over there at the PTC Center over there. That's an important facility, and I appreciate you guys' attention to that over there. I really do. On a personal note, I want to thank JJ for accompanying a bunch of friends, but representing the city. The fire department, I got the Valor Award as a result of that incident up on the Angeles Crest. I got to tell you, that was probably one of the most moving events that I was a party to. And to be up on that stage with guys from the Las Vegas shooting, guys whose arm they're still working on patching it up. There's a hell of a group of guys up there and ladies as well. So thanks, JJ. Appreciate that, man. And I'd also like to ask that tonight we can adjourn in memory of Tim Klein.
We got it on, so all set to go.
Okay, well, I hadn't heard it, so that's why I brought it up.
Okay. Who else?
Okay. Well, first, congratulations to the Valor Honor Award. Some of the same meetings and conferences that you had already mentioned, the General Assembly with SCAG, the Contract Cities Association, the new JPA, the NCTC, Recycle Water. You also attended the TPAA board meeting. The reason I attended that is because we had one of your board members come to the council meetings and address some concerns that he had with school district bus pickups and drop-offs, as you also mentioned. So I felt the need to go and give him a report on what we have done to address those issues. Interesting meeting. First time I attended one of them. But you were present at that meeting as well. Again, just want to report on the issues that were brought to my attention so that we could address them as they needed to be. I did miss the arts workshop. I had a personal issue that I had to attend to, so I missed it. I heard it was a pretty good workshop. At the CCA, the Contract Cities Association, it's a great place to network, a great place to learn new things and to see how other cities are doing things that we are trying to accomplish here in the city of Palmdale. So those are always good opportunities to learn and network with other council members, mayors, and city staff as well. Those are the things I did, and that's my report.
Okay, so I attended the mayor's prayer breakfast at the Highland Church. That was a really nice event. I attended the public arts workshop, and that was really a good event. I hope that we keep up on that. Had the TPAA school board meeting that one came and spoke at, and I also attended the TPAA graduation at Reeker Park, and I want to say we had about 170 graduates, most of them on their way to college, which was great. I've met with lots of our residents this month from District 3. I also attended the Daughters of the American Revolution luncheon, where we awarded awards to high school seniors that wrote certain essays and received certain awards there. That was in Lancaster at the Desert Vineyard Christian Fellowship. And this, it's kind of near and dear to my heart because I do genealogy, and my application is almost finished to become a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution.
They do a great job of bringing the principles of America into the classroom.
Yeah, I'm missing one link in the family chain that I'm actually going to go on vacation next week to go get back east. So that'll be fun. Had lunch with the city manager. Did the Memorial Day Remembrance over at Desert Lawn. That was a well-attended event, and luckily the weather was good. That was nice. I attended the briefing with our city attorneys regarding our code enforcement program. Had a nice Mother's Day at work, because I work on Sundays. And I had the opportunity this month to observe a community that really held together during the Highland High School shooting. And I was saddened that it happened, but I was impressed with the way that our community reacted to it. So I hope that never happens again, but I was glad to see how well our community took care of each other. So I was very impressed.
Very fortunate.
Yes, we were, absolutely. And I think that's it. I may have missed some things, but I think that pretty much covered most of it.
All right. I'll do mine is, we did our walk with the chamber. We're at Food for Less. We're at 25th and S. We had a prayer breakfast, well attended at the Highlands. So that was a good effort. I saw Councilwoman Bittencourt was there, and I think they did a fabulous job. Also, we did coffee with the cop that same day, and then I also met with somebody about trying to get their kid into TPAA. A lot of kids want to be in that school.
We have a waiting list of over 800 right now.
Over 800 kids are waiting to get into that school, so they're clearly doing something right. Went to the Law Appreciation Day out at the fairgrounds. Got to recognize our Deputy of the Year and actually all law enforcement's choices for the year. I went to the AV Youth Build classroom. I visit them periodically. We talk a little bit about homeless, and a lot of these students they've got some very good questioning, and so we got into a good dialogue there. And AV Youth Build, I think, is a good program, and so I like to be there to support it. Met with the AV Fairy Godmothers. You're probably wondering who that is. Well, more to come on that later. Also had a ribbon cutting for our EV stations at the Palmdale Transportation Center, which was fun. It focused on Councilman Bishop's car.
I know, I saw him on the front
It
page.
was on the front page. You just hit it out of the park. Met with Vets for Veterans for a couple of events they got coming up, so we got to get a few things lined up for that. And of course, the employee recognition ceremony. We like to recognize our employees that get 5 and above years of service. And anyway, I think that's important. Also had an opportunity to go to a citizenship class. I go to those where citizenship classes are being held and when people graduate. I think it's important that we help them appreciate not only what great country we have, but we celebrate when they actually pass their class. So these people are on their way to American citizenship.
And that's not an easy test.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's not. These people work very hard.
So anyway, good efforts, and I'm there to support that. Also, Mental Health America had a reading event at Barnes & Noble. I got to participate in that one, which was great. We did our Stamp Out Hunger Drive. This is at the post office, and those workers, they hit it out of the park. Every one of them committed to the program. We've been doing it for years, so we show up in the morning, we encourage them on. And then later that day, we went back with our volunteers from Saves, and we helped them offload that food and get it organized, get it ready to move it over to Saves for further sorting and distribution. Also had an opportunity to go to, we met with Donna Termere on this Avenue in renaming the issue that we approved tonight. And it was important to get that meeting in play because the family, it's important that you reach out to the family first. And we don't do anything without the family's consent. And so in that case, we were able to bring them forward and meet and talk it out. And I think we came up with a pretty good program there collectively. Again, back to Barnes & Noble for a meeting with regards to city partnership with Barnes & Noble. And they're an important tenant. And we need to do all we can, I think, to try to keep them as engaged and active in our community as possible. So that's for Palmdale Chamber monthly luncheon. I try to support our chambers at every opportunity. That evening I went to the Palmdale Medical Center. We did an Employee Service Awards. We do that annually. Recognize those employees. And some of those have been there for 40 years from my Lancaster community come to Palmdale. And so anyway, it's good stuff. We had this, spoke at a regional gathering of household hazardous waste, but it really wasn't all hazardous waste. It was how communities position themselves to move forward on embracing new technology and better diversion of toxins, and how do we position ourselves for the future. More change coming in that area. Knight High School, I went out to their senior awards evening, and lots of great kids out there. Again, our city's in great shape. I'm not worried about our future. Yeah, we got some knuckleheads, but we got a ton of great kids doing great things in our city of Palmdale. We also had a Stamp Out Hunger. We went back, and now we went to Saves, and just took that food and put it. Now Saves took it in and sorted it. They got rid of the end of the age food. But anyway, again, the volunteers. It was important that we tell those volunteers, we appreciate you. You guys are fabulous, and they do great work. Also got to take advantage of the Pony League closing ceremony, so we closed that out. And that league is doing fabulous work too, helping a lot of kids learn baseball. And so with that, I went to a hearing for the Guidance Charter School with the high school district. And I went to a Board of Trade luncheon, and we heard about high-speed rail. We got to ask questions about, if not high-speed rail, what? What's the alternative? What are we doing for the 14? Well, we have a scoping project for the 14, but quite frankly, that's not enough. Our future is going to require more than a study on how to improve and widening the 14 freeway. Our economic future, I think, is hanging on that one. Also went to the Hispanic Chamber lunch. Also got to participate in the KFI broadcast, and I was there with the daughter of Lee Ermey, and we got to speak about the project of Avenue N renaming, Musical Road, yada, 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 and built, I think, those people are ready to go. They're ready to go right now. So this funding mechanism, part of it's next. So we got to scope that next and launch it. And so hopefully we'll be able to get people all over America who can contribute to that one. Went out to Desert Willow Middle School, had a film screening out at the Sage Planetarium. Got to see 4 features done by middle school students. Pretty good stuff. So we got some good art cooking in our middle schools. And I went to the flag raising at Greg Anderson. They're a school of distinction. And Westside's got a few of these schools of distinction, and it's something to be proud of. So they raised the flag that morning. We were there to say congratulations. Also went to the Memorial Day ceremony out at the Desert Lawn, which was great, well attended, lots of people, and to me it's a basic. You got to say thank you to those that gave your life, protecting our way of life. My gosh, I don't know how you not, but that was important. And we also did a ceremony at the old Palmdale Cemetery right after that. We do that because historically you've got people interned out there that have been around, well, our first city cemetery. So anyway, good stuff. Met with a local business about keeping their beauty licensing in Palmdale, and other briefings as assigned. Let me see what else. I think that's just about it, you guys. You can tell we're all running. Oh, here's one of my favorites. Every year I go out to the Devil Pups and speak to them as a group. And we talk about their training, what they're looking to do as far as a career. And again, that's another group of great young people, focused, doing multiple things. They're not just one thing, they're doing multiple things. And Devil Pups are definitely got their act together. So that is that.
And probably the most important thing we've done so far is we all voted today, right?
Voting today was important, but I voted a week ago.
There you go.
I got my sticker on.
That's what reminded me, so I saw one.
Hey, also, just real quick, on June 15th, Sister Cities is having their big shindig event. So, yep, right here. So, yep. So make sure you get your tickets for that. It'll sell out. They get some real top name Latino performers in that thing. And then, just in passing, I'll comment that on July 19th, the City Pack event's coming up. If you need any more information on that, let me know. That supports all the grassroots efforts that are going on out there. And that always is a fabulous event, well attended, great entertainment.
Okay, there's our information. Let's now go to our next item, 14, any requests. for new council items.
I have a couple.
Okay?
There's some concern about city staff being appointed to serve as community representatives on the North County Transit Commission. Should we be having staff in that type of a role when they have to sit with a council person? So you've got staff and council person, and maybe they have to disagree with each other. I think that probably puts them in an uncomfortable position.
Again, I don't know what to say.
But maybe we
It's a
can-
new group, new rules,
Yeah, well,
new
I thought maybe we
everything.
could bring that up for conversation next time.
That's currently not a problem.
And then there was still some discussion as to whether the city of Palmdale wants to be so intimately connected with our schools. It was brought to my attention by the Palmdale School District that it's rare for a city to actually sit on a board and place people on school boards. I guess school districts do it and other entities do it, but traditionally city councils don't. So I know that it was important for us to be involved so tightly and closely with schools. I'm talking as a charter school at this point, because I don't know of any other school that we're so intimately connected to. Because I don't know that we are with any other school.
Well, this was actually a part of how it was chartered. It was a
Right.
partnership.
And do we want to rethink that? Do we want to work with the school? I mean, what do you guys think? Because I know that in the very beginning, and this is the issue that we had in the very beginning, there was accusations and rumors.
You think you're gonna stop that?
But what it does is it creates a lot of work for our staff and for our city attorneys and for other people within the city. And do we have a necessary position on that board right now is my question.
Well, I don't have any problem talking about it. I'd bring it back for discussion.
Okay.
But I would be interested in what for instance, the Aerospace Academy thinks.
Yeah. And I
They
think
have a
that we need to have a
perspective.
discussion.
We might want to double check with the Attorney General because there was some question at one point, but it was deferred at the time.
Well, and that's what I said, we want to make sure that we're doing things right. And we don't want to fall into the trap of, like I said, continually creating extra work for staff to answer questions and pulling documents and having legal reasons and questions answered all the time. When
Didn't TPAA just all of a sudden reduce their board?
No.
No.
I had heard a rumor that it was being reduced down.
Yeah, no, there was some discussion of doing that.
Do you want to bring this back for discussion?
Yeah. Let's bring it back.
No, there's some changes being made, and that's why I'm asking if they do reduce the board, then maybe this is the time for us
There's
to
all that
step out.
discussion about why it needed to be bigger.
That's all for the next conversation. If you had.
We'll bring an item back to the
Let's
city
just- let me just
council
say
for
this.
this.
Yeah, we're having too big of a
If you came
discussion.
to one of our school board meetings, that has already been addressed.
All right,
and then-
any other items?
No? Do you guys have anything you want to talk about, or is it just me?
Well, I think we did a lot. We did a budget that kind of encapsulated a year's worth of
This is for next
stuff.
time, though. You guys don't have anything you want to bring up next time?
I have a couple of items, not necessarily agenda items. But like I said earlier in my report, attending the Contract Cities Association, you get to see how cities are doing things that we're trying to accomplish. And I like to see if the council thinks it's necessary to give direction to manager to set up a meeting with the city of Gate. I sent you an email on that, on the soccer.
Who's
Because
that?
they're- the Southgate, city of
Oh.
Southgate. Because they did a similar project to what I'm trying to do.
The same thing we're looking at on Rancho Vista.
So
Trying
that's
to-
my point,
with
because
the
that's
Rancho
a
Vista
good opportunity for
owners.
us to look at those things.
The project
So-
is,
Well,
The public-private
P3.
partnership.
public-private partnership. And I did send you an email, and the staff at Southgate is really interested in telling us how they were able to get around the same issue that we're trying to get around. The other one is the bond refinance. I also met with someone over there who has looked at our bonds, and from one or two bonds that could be refinanced, that could save the city at least $1 million a year. So we can council direction to establish.
Well, I think they should always be watching that for that stuff, yeah.
We got bond counsel to do that, so.
Yeah, but apparently they missed it, so that's why.
Or the timing is not right. There's
According
other
to what they
factors.
tell me, the timing is right now, so maybe that's an opportunity to
Let's look at
see
it.
what
They probably
they
want us
say.
to hire them too. Of course.
For $1 million,
think?
for $1 million savings, yeah.
The, also, we got anything going, do we ever touch bases with those guys from the, we heard from at, I don't remember whether it was SCAG or Contract Cities, but the guys that are running the conference center now
Oh, yeah.
out in Ontario, and that
Yeah.
place is booming with their programs out there. You get a chance to talk with them?
Yeah, we've traded some emails. on
Okay,
that,
I
so
just want to make sure we keep that
continue
dialogue
doing-
going, because I think that's important. That's
Well,
it.
for that
Yeah.
project, it's
Yeah,
important to have a
absolutely,
partner.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, anything else? I think we're ready to adjourn.
I think so.
I'm going to adjourn the city council, successor agency, housing authority, industrial development authority, civic authority, finance authority, and the airport authority. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Tim Klein and
In the memory of
Tim Klein and his service is coming up when?
June 23rd is his service. I believe it's going to be at Grace Chapel. And yeah, Tim Klein is co-chair of the Career Health Academy.
There's an EMT instructor over there.
Yeah, we're gonna miss him. All right, we're adjourned, ladies and gentlemen.